Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, and so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show. Booyah!
And guys, for the first time since 1993, barring any catastrophic meltdown here in the final 2 minutes, the Cleveland Browns are 2-0.
A few moments later.
Oh my God, the Jets just scored a long touchdown. That is just embarrassing.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
Jeff, stand by. Onside kick. The ball's loose.
2 seconds later.
Are you kidding me, Browns? What is going on here? They got their heads up their ass, fellas.
A few minutes later.
3rd and 10, Flacco drops back, throws it up the middle, caught, touchdown. Oh, my God.
Stop it.
Oh, my God.
Stop it.
Touchdown Jets with 22 seconds left. Oh, my God. I'm going to be sick. I don't know. The fans must be throwing up like I was on Monday. This is as bad a regular season loss as you can have. Oh, my God. Guys, we've seen it all. We've seen it all. Cleveland Browns fans have seen it all. But, Dick, there are worse losses in the playoffs. There could be a bad loss late in the season that could cost you the playoffs. But to lose to a terrible football team up 13 with 2 minutes to go when they had no timeouts is, we said last week, there's no excuse. Guys, this was beyond, everybody's stunned right now. This was beyond disgusting. First of all, it's mostly the defense. Kareem Hunt running out of bounds. I don't know what he's doing. The coaching staff failed. They should have told Nick Chubb to take a knee at the 1 yard line. That's not on Nick Chubb. I don't blame him at all. That's on the coaching staff. And then the defense, which is 99.9% responsible. Denzel Ward, I just spoke to Tyvis. He said Denzel thought it was cover 2 when they were playing cover 3. Everybody else knew it. I said, Tyvis, would they ever play cover 2 on that play? He said, no. Denzel Ward, you're getting paid $100 million. You have to make that. What are you doing? And then the onside kick, and then Grant Delpit's in the end zone on the final play. What a freaking disgrace. Sick of this crap. We keep saying they're the best defense, great. No, they're not. They suck the whole game. Go ahead, Brad.
I'm speechless. First of all, can we take a moment of silence?
I think we did already.
Take a moment of silence here for this nonsense, right? And I was telling Jay just a short while ago, it amazes me. I mean, across this country, Browns fans were calling me from across this country. They are all irate. It's not the fact that they lost. It's how Cleveland seems to find a way, I don't care what franchise it is, to find a way to outdo the last franchise. I mean, we have taken so many bad losses across the board, but yesterday, you could not tell me that going up 2 scores and under 2 minutes to go, that this thing was even in jeopardy. But I tell you what, when he missed that kick, it sent a chill through everybody that was a Browns fan that there was a bad omen about to happen here. And sure enough, with a lickety-split time, what happened? We panic and go down the tubes, and there's enough accountability that we're going to get through today that we're going to touch on just about everybody.
I don't want to hear any more kicker chants.
There's some accountability around here.
The Browns have been waterboarding their fans for 30 years, and yesterday they grabbed the bucket and the towel one more time. I was in the locker room post-game, and the disgust in the players. Like, everyone's quiet after a loss, right? Like, it's the locker room silent after a loss. It's, guys, but there's still usually some guys laughing a little bit or joking or whatever because it's one game and whatever will come back from it. Not yesterday. Yesterday was the most disgusted I've seen a Browns locker room after a loss, and rightfully so. I agree with Bull. Listen, we're going to empty the clip on the defense, but there is enough blame to go around to other facets of the game. And ultimately, Kevin Stefanski said it ends with him, and he's right. He's the head coach. He has to be accountable. He has to get their attention. He has to get the attention of the defense somehow, some way, whether it's the players, whether it's Joe Woods. And it's Joe Woods then getting the attention of the players. But this cannot happen again. This hasn't happened in over 2,000 games, and the last time it happened, it was the Browns. In my opinion, this was the worst loss since they came back. There have been playoff losses, obviously, that have hurt more. There have been more consequential losses. But for a situation like this where you're up 2 scores, 2 minutes left, the other team doesn't have a timeout, to lose this game is inexcusable. It's worse than the Dwayne Rudd helmet throw. The Chiefs were in that game. They led that game with a couple minutes left. It's worse than the 2001 loss to Chicago. They were still an expansion era team then with not a lot of expectations. This is supposed to be a team of grown-ups, run by adults. This can't happen, period.
You know, I see. I just don't. You know, I'm in the locker room. I played the game before. I don't see people that want it. Seriously, I just don't see nobody that want it. When you give up a touchdown, you see the defense and secondary, and they throw the ball over your head, and you're the one who busted the play, and you have a missed assignment. Sprint your ass downfield and make the tackle. I see guys jogging and trotting behind the play. That's infuriating. That means you don't care. I don't see nobody on the sideline saying, guys, we're not going to have this. We busted plays last week. We busted plays again this week. Leadership starts from them captains. We got too many dudes that's silent. Too many people that look like they got cartoon characters with bubbles over their head. We got to guess what you're thinking. Where are the people on the sideline getting people together? Where's Kevin Stefanski bringing people up on the sideline saying, listen, guys, we have 13 points. Know your assignments. What is your assignment? What do we got here? Quizzing people. And you know what the problem is? It's camp cupcake. People talk about, oh, we don't want to get nobody hurt. I don't care if nobody get hurt because you're losing anyway. Give me the backups. Give me the LeCounts of the world. Give me the guys that are backing up something. At least I know somebody's going to know their position and know what they're doing. But you know what we do? We got a bunch of dudes drinking Kool-Aid all preseason. Guys in the offseason program, I twisted my hamstring. Everybody, Denzel Ward, you missed all the camp. Let's keep it a buck. But if you going to miss all the camp, you better ensure you know what you're doing on your assignments. And everybody is lax. Everybody's chilling. We'll get it fixed. It's 1 of 17. That's the difference between you and the Kansas City Chiefs. That's the difference between you and the Pittsburgh Steelers. When y'all doing Camp Cupcake, Pittsburgh is hitting and Patrick Mahomes is playing. That's the difference. And coaches need to be in the room too, getting in the regular season mind state. The plays is coming in too slow. You're looking on your sheet of integrity and you don't know what's going on. The answers ain't on the sheet. Stop looking at these sheets and stats and get into it and understand what y'all need to do to win football games. Because right now, y'all look real expansionish.
You ever been in that situation where you're at a loss for words, but at the same time there are so many words that it floods your brain? That's where I was yesterday, about 4:15. I think it's where I am right now. I've seen a lot of horrible losses and a lot of terrible football, but I can't remember a time when I just felt so defeated as yesterday. And everybody's going to play the blame game today. And everybody is to blame. All 53 players on that roster, all 45 that put their feet on the grass yesterday, if their cleats touched the grass yesterday, they're responsible. But in football, like in business, there's got to be a fall guy. Somebody's got to be to blame. Kevin Stefanski, you wish you had the preseason over now? All the things we saw yesterday, that's stuff that you work out in the preseason, not in game 2 of the regular season. We should have figured that out in the second game of the preseason. You didn't want to play anybody. We're ready. We're good. We're good. You weren't good yesterday. And here's the saddest part. This team's heroes, Hunt, Chubb, Garrett, Ward, they all made mistakes yesterday that would have changed the outcome of the game, as well as they played for 58 minutes. Everybody wants to blame Chubb for not falling. He should have fallen. And he knows to fall. He's done it before. We've seen him do it. He doesn't need to be told by his coach, but his coach should reiterate it. That's what coaches do. Chubb could have fallen. On that last drive, Hunt had 2 opportunities to get out of bounds, or to stay in bounds rather, and keep the clock going. Instead, they gave the Jets 5 timeouts when they most needed them. They went out of bounds. Once, he probably couldn't help it. The first time, he could have gone down. He's got to know the situation. Who do you blame? The coach. Your players weren't ready to play. It would have been different if Hunt had gone down, if Chubb had gone down, if Cooper could have caught an onside kick, if York could make a freaking extra point, if Brissett doesn't throw an interception on the last offensive play of the game for the Browns. They were in field goal range. A 10-yard completion, a timeout, a kick, you win the game. If the defense could learn how to communicate, they're 2-0. If Myles Garrett could have had more than one tackle, I don't want to hear any more of this craziness that he's the most talented defensive player in the league. It's garbage. He's not. He's not. He has the ability to. He had one tackle. One tackle. And then he's going to jump on the fans for booing? You know what the right answer is in that situation, Myles? I would have booed myself too. You're going to blame the fans for booing you? You guys deserve it. It should have been worse. And you're going to flip it on the fans. Fans work their ass off all week long to be able to afford a ticket because they don't make $25 million a year. They want to go to the game and be entertained. They don't want to make that walk of shame from the stadium to their car, knowing that they're a fan of the worst, most mocked football team in the last 30 years in the NFL. They don't deserve that. The fans deserve better. And then you're going to attack them for booing. Nonsense. Special teams. I've always liked Prefer. I thought he was one of the best special teams coaches in the league. You got schooled on a fake punt, you miss an extra point, and you can't handle an onside kick. This is the most disappointing thing at all. ESPN does a win probability stat throughout the course of the game based on everything that's happened to that point. When the Browns scored their touchdown to go up 13 with a minute 55, the win probability rate was 99.9%. Think about that. 99.1%. And they lost.
2,229 consecutive games teams had won in that situation.
The last team to blow it was the Browns. So as we play the blame game, and we're going to do that throughout the next 2 hours, and there's a lot of blame to go around. Kevin Stefanski, all eyes are on you.
Oh, yeah.
Because here's the good news. No harm, no foul. The entire division is sitting in the same tiers that the Browns are sitting in right now. Bengals lost one they should have won. Ravens, oh my God. I would not want to be John Harbaugh or a Baltimore Raven this morning. 35-14 in the fourth quarter. Pittsburgh, you had a chance to win too. So the good news is the Browns are exactly today where they were yesterday before the game was played. And Kevin Stefanski, you are about to undergo the biggest coaching challenge of your career. This is it. This is it. You got 3 days to get your team ready for a Pittsburgh team that is as bad as they've been in a very long time. Their offense looks drunk. You better win Thursday night. Or Myles Garrett, you better bring earplugs.
That Thursday night post game, that Friday show is going to be ugly if they lose this game. You're right, they got lucky that all the other teams lost in this division, and it is good, but you had a chance to be 2-0. They should have been 2-0 while everybody else.
Should be 2-0.
That's for fans, though. Isn't that for fans? The coach has to say, guys, let's go.
Of course.
Listen,
it's got to be put behind you this morning.
They're a 58-yard field goal away from being 0-2.
You're exactly right.
That's true.
You're exactly right.
They're a
so you know
miracle
what?
kick away.
Here's the way I do the math. You're so right. And I came up with that last night, too, and I thought, well, the NFL gods give and the NFL gods take.
Yep.
And here's the bottom line. We're not where we wanted to be through 2 games, but we're still in first place. Yeah. We're 1-1, and I know you can play the if game and say we should be 2-0. We could be 0-2.
Yeah, but the other teams in this division have played better teams on the schedule so far.
Absolutely.
Well,
And
no question.
And so it's not apples to apples. The
No
Browns'
question.
schedule is getting tough. We talked about they had to go at least 3-1, if not 4-0, in these first 4 games.
They can still go
I'm not
3-1.
I'm not saying the season's over. That's silly.
It's
It's
not.
2 games.
It's not.
But
But
Man,
this team's got issues.
It's
that they
hard
better
to
fix.
move on from that game so quickly.
So this is beyond that, right? Because the schedule is what it is, right? My whole, I'm a basketball guy, right? But my problem is the lack of accountability, Jay.
Yeah.
Right?
Disturbing.
First of all, I told you before when you preseason is not to sit on the sideline. It's prepared to get people prepared to play. That's what it is. You can't walk off the sideline into a major competition feeling like you're ready to go. Because these are rookie mistakes here. And it's just not the play, it's just the players. The coaching yesterday down the stretch, and not just Stefanski, because in basketball, the head coach is watching the game, trying to do the makes and shifts as the game changes. There's someone on the sideline that is in his ear that tells him, hey, it's the math game now. We're not playing the Jets. We just have to run the clock out. The Jets are going to get this ball back with 18 seconds to go, with 99 yards to go. That's what's happening
There was
here.
a chance they wouldn't have got it back
No,
at
they
all.
would have had no time.
If
No
Chubb
time.
falls on the 1 yard line,
There's no time
the
left.
game is
So
over.
Maybe 3 seconds,
So
2 seconds.
Not
at the
even.
most.
There
No,
were
probably
going to
not,
be
but-
some seconds
It's
left.
over.
But it was over.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it was apparent to me yesterday that nobody was even in his ear, because that message would have got relayed to the quarterback to tell him, don't do this nonsense.
And to your point, this organization is all in on analytics.
That's what.
It's all we hear about.
If
Analytics,
we're all about the numbers,
playing the percentages.
That's right.
I'll tell you, they had a 99.9% chance to win if he went into the end zone. They had a 100% chance to win if he took a knee.
But I will tell you this. You know what it appeared to me from the sideline? There's always the top assistant who has enough moxie to be in the head coach's ear, right? He'll push back. I see no pushback over there, right? No. They sit there like mummies.
Maybe Stefanski shouldn't. I've always thought this too much was made of it, but maybe Kevin Stefanski needs to back away from calling the play so he can be focused on the team.
Well, I've maintained that. And by the way, yesterday, I thought he called a great game. I thought he called a great game. We wanted more run. We saw more run. We wanted more Chubb in the fourth quarter. We saw it. Hunt in that last drive, the last 2 drives, was fantastic. I thought the game plan was.
It was flawless.
Brissett almost pitched a perfect game.
Flawless.
Brissett, until the pick, had played as good a game as
And
you could
here's what's
possibly
scary
expect from
about
him.
that.
Yeah.
They can play that well and lose?
To a bad team, or a team we think is going to be bad.
And by the way, I know that we killed Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco's leading the NFL right now in passing.
Yeah.
I know that last year
He played
after
well
2 games,
yesterday.
Darnold did and all of that. But I think we wrote his obituary too soon.
Well, he
had
played
4
well.
touchdowns and no sack.
The Browns got no pressure on him basically the whole day.
Mikey, what do you
None.
got?
No interceptions. He threw no interceptions.
I want to give us a little direction, but I got to tell you something real quick. I woke up today for the first time since I moved to Cleveland just feeling disgusted after watching what happened yesterday.
Imagine having 50 years of sweat equity.
I'm learning
Boy, you ain't even scratched the surface yet.
Yeah.
You ain't even
Welcome-
scratched the surface
welcome
yet.
to Heartbrake
You have, here, let me tell you, let me get to
Well,
Myles.
Brad, hold on. The
on.
only thing that snapped me out of that funk was the Built Bar I had this morning, because I needed that Built Bar to get
Thought
back
you had
into
some.
the
You guys didn't
groove
know
of
it was
what I
going that
needed.
way?
Yeah.
Listen,
Yeah, I saw that coming a mile away.
if you used code LOCKEDON15, you get 15% off Built Bars at Built.com. The chocolate chip cookie dough puffs are delicious. Got to get those. I'm going to bring them down for you next episode. But listen, I had to ask Jason a question. Jason, this is serious now. You were in the locker room. You said it was the most pissed off you've seen the players afterwards. You've been in a ton of locker rooms throughout your career. What made yesterday different than some of the other times you have been in locker rooms and seen players after losses not be jubilant, for a lack of a better word?
Just absolute disgust to the point where I would walk up to a player and go, "What the hell just happened?" And they just shook their head in disgust and more or less walked away. Because they didn't. I mean, everyone. It's just one of those. Jay, I'm sure you guys who've been in locker rooms, you lived it.
No.
You walk in and you're like, "Whoa."
You know the temperature the second
Absolutely.
you walk in the door.
And it's one of those things you can't really explain, but when you walk in, you know the thermostat is going up.
I wasn't there yesterday, so I don't know what it was like. The most, twice in my career, 95 Game 6 Braves, the Indians locker room was, out of respect for the players and needing to observe their silence, there was silence for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Nobody could even form a question. What was the worst was 97 Marlins.
Yeah.
What happened in that game is all the media, as you know, is ushered down to the outside door of the clubhouse to come in. And this is how bad it was. We couldn't hear the game. We couldn't see the game. There were no monitors outside of the Marlins clubhouse. We felt what felt like a small earthquake. and I'm not exaggerating, everybody was looking around like, what's going on right now? The doors of the clubhouse flew open, and out came carts of champagne and carts of hats and shirts that said Cleveland Indians World Series champions. They were pulling plastic down from all out throughout the clubhouse.
Yeah.
The players came in, we came in, and I'd never seen a situation like that in my life in professional sports. And I've been in losing clubhouses to Super Bowl teams.
Yeah.
I've never felt anything. But I actually asked, I wonder what this postmortem is like in there. And I felt like, I bet it's, to compare it to the only thing I know, I bet it's similar to the 97 Game 7 loss. And the other thing that I asked, and I'm going to look to you for this, we're all saying everyone's to blame, but it all goes uphill. Kevin Stefanski said one thing right in his news conference yesterday, in which he said nothing. His lips moved a lot. He said nothing. He got one thing right. It's on him.
Yeah. But we've heard that before.
I know we have, and you know what? It's lip
generic
service.
nonsense.
It is. It's lip service and
Yeah.
it's generic. But here's what the question I have for you.
We've had coaches in this town before who tried
That's
to
true.
Yeah, but
blame.
Stefanski's not one of them.
He's not one of
Stefanski
them.
will
True.
fall
Lieutenant
hard on the
Head-on.
sword.
Absolutely.
But you know what? That's not good enough.
No, it's
in
not.
this loss, that's not good enough. And my question to you, Jay, is did you get a sense at all? I know nobody said anything. But if we're all looking at Stefanski, did you get a sense that the eye emoji from this football team is also on him too?
I actually don't think so. I think it's on the players.
They were blaming
looking at
themselves.
each other. They're
okay,
looking at
that's
each
good.
other.
I'm glad to hear that because from that they can move on.
Yeah.
I can see that in Newsom's comments yesterday, right? When he was talking about communicating. But let me get back to this thing with Mikey and
the pain.
and Myles Garrett.
The pain he
You have no idea what the pain looks like.
Love you.
You have no idea. And yesterday
you,
the
buddy. I
booing
had to.
the booing was not because how they lost. It was obviously for how they lost. It's for the pain.
Yeah.
How many times can you get kicked when you're in the ground, right? And we represent this team wherever we go, right?
Yeah.
A friend of mine, you know what she told me yesterday? She said, you know what it's like? It's like the kid waiting in the park for his father just to show up. I'm waiting for you.
And he never shows.
And he never shows.
Yeah.
Because I was, for 2 hours, I couldn't do a thing.
I was
I couldn't
paralyzed
do a
too.
thing. I could not do a thing because why? We have been down this road before. And I will tell you, I've been on the other side of it. See that dagger we did and the Chicago Bulls did to the Cavaliers in '89?
I still have the scar.
I was there.
I
I
still
was
have
at the
scar.
scene of the crime. I was a participant.
Yep.
Right? And I'll never forget 21,000 in Richfield Coliseum at a frenzied pace, at a frenzied pitch with 3 seconds to go.
Silent.
Then we dropped that dagger, and the whole place went silent. I'll never. And here's a kid that grew up 15 minutes from the place, and I was like, "Damn!" Just another piece of the pie.
As you know, that's one of many.
That's just one of many. And the Browns do it. The Indians, Guardians do it. And yesterday, the people across this country just had enough.
Yeah.
Like you break my heart every time.
Listen, there's a lot of damn people, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I told you before this season started. The problem with us is we go about and we pick scapegoats for everybody. You give sacrificial lambs. It was OBJ, then it was Baker, then you know that now we got to figure out what we're doing. Then we got Deshaun Watson. See, a lot of y'all just happy to be in the news. I'm trying to figure out. You just happy to be in these headlines because I'm gonna tell you what. I ain't trying to hear nobody say I raised my hand for accountability. Guess what? I'm all about consequences. If I raise my hand and say, yeah, I murdered that person, your ass is still going to jail. Mm-hmm. Ain't nobody crying for you. And we got a bunch of people sitting here, I'll take accountability for it. It's all on me. No, what are the consequences, Coach? Who's not starting next week?
Bingo.
Yep.
Who ain't playing no
Tell
more,
me.
Coach? But you kumbaya, and I believe in calling people out publicly. See, I feel like getting up there on some Denny Green. It's a bunch of people on our team that think they're better than they are.
Can't win with them.
Can't play with them. Can't play with them.
Can't do it.
There's a lot of guys getting paid big money on this team, and they're not playing up to their contract. And when Myles Garrett, man, and I love Myles Garrett, but put that quote back up, please, Mikey. That Mary Kay Cabot quote from Myles Garrett. Lamented the fact that fans booed at the end of the game, feels the players should be respected, doesn't want the fans giving up. The fans in this town are the most loyal fans on the face of the earth. They stick by players when they let them down all the time, like no fan base I have ever seen in my life. You cannot. Now, a fan says something inappropriate. A fan throws something on the field. Okay, but that's not what happened here. The Browns.
Look at that number, by the way.
Yeah.
Bull.
Pathetic.
Look at that.
34 points to the Jets and the Panthers.
And Bull, first of all, I want to commend you for your comment. You're from New York. You know fan bases.
Yes.
You know how bad they can be. I've lived in New York. I've lived in Florida. I've been all around the country covering all the pro sports teams. You're right. This fan base is the most resilient fan base because when other teams turn in 30-year eggs, there's none left.
They go away.
They're gone.
No.
And here we are, packing the joint, watching garbage like that, and then we have to hear from our best player who made his name was in the box score for one play.
He did nothing.
He's going to ridicule the fans.
That's ridiculous.
For their right to boo after they spent a couple $100s to watch that garbage.
Most of the fans here, they're cleaning up garbage. They're working in factories. They're doing office jobs. They're barely getting by. All their disposable income is to watch this freaking team play for 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years. All you have to do as a player is say you love Cleveland and give them anything, and they will love you like no other fan base. Forever. And you're going to complain about it?
You know what he should have said?
What?
We deserve to be booed.
Of course they
and
did.
And they deserve better.
100%.
And we're going to give them better Thursday night.
Better.
Jay, get to this because you was an apropos statement here, right? What I don't see on any great team, who is the freaking leader?
That's what I want to know.
Who is because somebody was supposed to be in somebody's grill. Like, this you saw Flacco. Flacco said, hold on. They're going to give us a chance. Get ready. They're going to give us a chance. Be ready. That's what Flacco was saying. Who is that on the ground?
Where was our leader?
Who is this?
And you know what? They always say that a team takes on the personality of their head coach. Unfortunately,
that's what it looks like.
That's happened here.
That's what it looks like.
He's got no energy.
Laissez-faire.
I want him to be as angry as we are.
Yeah.
He comes to the mic.
Everything's okay.
Well, that didn't go our way.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to take all the blame.
So, G,
we got to do better. No, not acceptable.
All their leaders are quiet like him.
But wait a minute.
Who's the pit bull?
Sometimes
Who is it?
I was 18 years old, 19 years old in college. I came from high school. I went to OU. And I went from winning against Ignatius to coming here getting blown out by Buffalo. I saw guys running around doing layups before a game, and I looked around and the game plan was terrible. I went up to my coach and said, look, what we doing? This game plan is trash. I said, you coaching like you scared. He looked like he had seen a ghost. Because at the end of the day, those people was in the bunker with you. Mm-hmm. A player has to say, y'all got to keep each other accountable. Mm-hmm. That's why you run those laps. That's why they almost break you. They break your spirit so that you understand that it's going to be hard as hell to win. Winning is damn near impossible when you're playing against somebody across the line that's just as talented as you.
And maybe wants it more.
And want it more.
The Jets played that game like they wanted it more.
You know what that hat says to me? Culture.
Mm-hmm. Culture.
Culture. Tradition.
It means something.
Wanting to be great. Holding one another accountable. You learned that there.
I don't see it. Jay, I don't see it.
I don't know where it's coming from our guys.
The Jets played that game yesterday like they were the team
going
for the playoffs. By the way,
did his players not rally around Robert Saleh yesterday?
They did.
He said, I'm taking receipts. He knew his ass was buried. It was a loss. He knew it just like we knew it was a win.
Yeah.
His guys never gave up on him.
You see Garrett Wilson.
Garrett Wilson
walking
here like
how about Garrett Wilson walking here like he was at Ohio Stadium.
Yeah.
He said,
I'm
playing Ohio
like
here. Let me get these touchdowns, and while I get my first one, let me do the block over everybody.
Yep.
And Jason,
I'm back
I know you
home.
want to jump in, but real quick, because on the post-game show yesterday, we went from elation when we came on in 2 minutes to being so angry and yelling and screaming. You said, like, if you're Denzel Ward, who played a crap game yesterday, he's got to go up to Joe Woods and say, I got Garrett Wilson in the fourth quarter.
That's what all
I'm
corners
shutting
do.
him down.
That's what all
That's
the great
it.
ones do.
Game over.
All the great ones.
He had his head up his ass.
But why does I agree with you.
Yeah.
But why isn't Joe Woods saying that?
I don't know. Now, Tyvis made the point that when they're playing cover 3, it's kind of like playing man, and you can't.
Can we not bump either? Can we not play bump?
I don't know.
Bumper bump dead.
No.
I don't know what happened to it.
Did you just know?
I'm watching the game and I'm going, why are we giving everybody a free release on every single play?
And by the way, it wasn't just the fourth quarter in this game.
I know.
Jets receivers were 1 and free the whole game.
And I don't get it.
I have no idea.
Listen,
Yeah.
Tyvis Powell this week is appointment viewing. Well, you have got to watch him.
I can't wait to
on
get him
Wednesday,
in here.
right? He's
Wednesday,
in Wednesday.
yeah.
Make time out of your schedule to watch him. Seriously, you're going to want to see this. We've all been texting with him periodically. I was texting with him this morning. The way that he can explain to you why Denzel Ward blew it on that coverage play at the end of the game, and really why Denzel had a bad game all along. Grant Delpit on the game-winning touchdown. Tyvis said it's elementary 101. That's the first thing they teach you. Put your heels on the goal line. Don't go into the end zone until the route takes you into the end zone.
Which it didn't.
He never went in. He caught it. Garrett Wilson caught it outside of the end zone.
Yeah.
There was no reason for Delpit to be in the end zone.
Crazy.
So just the way that Tyvis can explain this to you, you really want to watch him. You want to watch him every week, but especially this week.
A former NFL defensive back texted me yesterday that at halftime of the Panthers game, the Panthers astutely made the adjustment that these defensive backs are confused.
Right.
They don't know what's going on. And they started bunching receivers and running crossings, and they quickly learned they don't know what's going on. They can't follow things.
Instead of correcting what happened, they went the other way and screwed up the whole game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Carolina caught it at halftime and said, there's a lot of opportunities that we're not taking advantage of. These defensive backs aren't communicating. They're lost. They can't handle crossing routes. Let's just put bunch receivers up. The same person then said, off that half of tape, the Jets defensive coordinator or offensive coordinator astutely figured out what Carolina figured out in a half. These guys are lost back there. They don't know what's going on. We're going to bunch receivers up. We're going to put 2 and 3 to a side, bunch them all together, and off the release, they're losing guys. And I said last week, I said, you know what's amazing to me when Tyvis diagrammed what happened? I said, what's amazing to me is that doesn't happen more often. And apparently, that now is the book on this defense.
Yeah.
Well, and I know we're going to bring Tim in, but real quick to what you said, Tyvis was telling me this morning, Robert Saleh is like the creator of this defense that the Browns are running. Mike LaFleur, the Jets offensive coordinator, knows all the counters and all the breakers to it because he's been coaching in it for 6 years. Yeah. So that's important to keep in mind that the Jets know how to break this better than probably anyone, and certainly they
broke it.
Let's get Tim take on it.
Yeah, Tim, we were speechless. We really were. We didn't have words. The floor is yours, man. Get it all off your chest. It's therapeutic.
Yeah, man, it was tough to watch. It was painful, and unfortunately for me, it brought back a little PTSD from the last time this happened in the NFL was in 2001, which I was unfortunately a part of as well. We were beating the Bears on the road in Soldier Field. We were up by 14 points actually with about a minute and a half to go. And they scored a touchdown, got an onside kick, and threw a Hail Mary and took us to overtime and beat us in that game. So, you just don't see breakdowns like this with that type of lead late in games. But it was a hard pill to swallow, man. But other than that, before that happened, I thought Jacoby Brissett played a hell of a football game. The way he was distributing the football, his accuracy, he seemed like he was in really good command of the offense. But, it's just unfortunate the way it all ended for him.
Hey, Tim, we were talking with Tyvis before the show, and he said that on that long touchdown to Corey Davis, that Denzel Ward, like that they were playing cover 3, and Denzel Ward for some reason thought they were in cover 2 when the whole rest of the team knew they were in cover 3. And I said to Tyvis, who was a DB in the league, I said, would you ever play cover 2 in that situation? He said no. So I can't wrap my head around why Denzel Ward, like how weird is it, A, for one player to get the coverage wrong when the whole rest of the team has it right, especially a coverage that you wouldn't typically play in that situation. How egregious is that error on his part?
It's unbelievably rare that you would make that error in that moment, especially a player like Denzel, who's a heck of a football player, and just to not be on the same page, man. You can't have a breakdown in communication, especially at that point in the game. The last thing you're going to do is let a receiver get behind you. You have to understand what coverage you're in. As Tyvis said, it's going to be cover 3, probably cover 4, something where you're getting deep. You're getting deeper than their deepest guy. You're not letting anyone just run past you at the line of scrimmage and get a free release. So it was, an extremely unfortunate time to have a breakdown like that. It's inexcusable in that moment for a player like Denzel to let that happen. So those guys got to start getting on the same page. There's too many breakdowns in coverage and miscommunication going on in that secondary right now.
So Tim, it's 2 weeks in a row. 2 weeks in a row this has gone on. Who is the person? Because people sometimes confuse in sports that they think it's the stars that hold everybody accountable. Sometimes it's not. It's somebody within the group that's holding everybody accountable. I'm looking for that person on the Browns. Who is the person on the defensive side of the ball that is holding the other players accountable? Because the coaches can only do so much. At some point, somebody's got to get in somebody's grill like, you letting us down, right? And the other side of that is, after 2 performances like this, somebody's getting bits today. You're not in the lineup next week because we can't trust you now. So who is that person, Tim, that holds the defensive side accountable?
I don't know if they found that person yet so far on this defense, but that person is going to have to step up because there has to be that communicator on the defense. There has to be constant communication going on, especially in that secondary between the corners and the safeties and understanding what coverage you're in and where your help's coming from. And right now it's just not happening, and somebody's certainly going to have to step up and take over that role. And like you said, I would expect some changes to be made in the secondary going forward after these last 2 weeks of the breakdowns and allowing big plays over the top.
Tim, after a devastating loss like this, next time you're in the building, what's that day like? What's Kevin say? How does he get – ultimately, it's his responsibility. What does he do to get guys' attention?
It's a tough feeling when you walk in the next day when you blow a lead like that. It's so hard to win football games in the NFL as is when you have a game won and you just let it go and, you blow it. It's so hard to recover from that emotionally. It's such a letdown. And there's a lot of fingers to be pointed. There's a lot of blame to be passed around when you have a breakdown like that. But it's really just, you're just coming in and trying to get guys to put it behind them and move on as best you can. That's way easier said than done. But you just try to focus on the next game and just turn the page as quickly as possible because, there's no weeks off in the NFL. You got to get ready to go again this week. But like I said, that's way easier said than done. Guys still feel a lot of responsibility and a lot of letdown from a loss like that. So it's a tough situation for the next couple of days. In that locker room, you're going to have to rely on the leaders within the locker room to really kind of, police, the locker room and get guys motivated and get ready to practice and start focusing on the game this week.
All right, I'm going to get everybody mad again, guys, when you hear what I'm about to say here. So we were already ticked at Myles Garrett, right, for his comments yesterday. We're looking for not just accountability, as you guys have said. We're looking for more than that. We're looking for guys to say, I screwed up. We're going to freaking do something about it, whatever. Instead, we've gone the opposite here. So somebody tweeted this morning, this we already know about, the Myles Garrett. Somebody tweeted this morning, Denzel Ward gave up over 100 yards in a game for the first time in his career, NFL and NCAA. Denzel Ward responded to that tweet.
Oh, jeez.
And here's what he said. LOL. Look at that, too. Worst grade, according to Pro Football Focus, 35. Denzel Ward responds to the tweet about his bad game and says, LOL. I was only targeted one time yesterday. A lot of fake news out there. People don't know what they don't know.
Okay, now, let's say one thing. That's true to a point. We're assuming that, and we have to assume because I don't know why it would be wrong. Tyvus played in this defense. I can't imagine there's a scenario where we're missing that it wasn't his responsibility. I don't know what that scenario would be.
I was in the locker room. I wrote it this morning. I had it confirmed from someone who knew the play call. Denzel blew the play call on the long touchdown.
But not from
pass.
Denzel himself.
Not from Denzel himself.
See, that's what I'm 99.9% inclined to believe that. But when he, first of all, that's bad looks.
That's just terrible.
That's bad
looks. You can't
looks.
do that.
You cannot.
You can't be making excuses.
LOL?
I mean, that's ridiculous.
No one's laughing here, Denzel.
I'll send
Nothing's
this
funny.
to you, Mikey, so you can put it up
Nothing's funny.
$100 million man.
I got it, Bill. Don't worry.
And here's the thing. And Tim, I want your reaction to this because
can't have that.
You've stood on that grass and heard the boos from the fans.
Mm-hmm.
This fan base has had roughly a couple 100,000 reasons to boo in my lifetime. Okay, a couple 100,000. They've never had more reason to boo, in my opinion, than yesterday. And you've got the best player on the team. Some say the best defensive player in the league, calling them out for booing. On the other side, you've got Jacoby Brissett, who wisely said afterwards when asked about the booing, I don't know, man, I was zoned out. I didn't even hear it. I'm sure you were asked about fans booing you. There's what you want to say, and then there's what you actually say. I can't believe Myles Garrett made that mistake. I'm stunned by that. And it really concerns me moving forward because that's a chemistry makeup problem. You have to own that. What do you make of his comments? What did you say in the times when you were asked about fans booing you at home?
Well, I think it goes two ways. I think sometimes fans boo when, you feel like it's unjustified. Like you think, you're having a rough spot in a game. You can figure it out. Let's don't boo the home team. I understand players saying at that point, but when a situation like that happens, when your defense is out there on the field, the game is in your hands. The offense has a 13-point lead with a minute and a half to go. You can't give up 14 points in a minute and a half, man. So you have to take some responsibility. The fans had every right possible to boo in that situation. Hell, we were all booing. I was booing watching the game. You can't give up those plays in that situation. So I don't like those comments from Myles. I would rather see him step up and say, you know what, that's our responsibility. I'm one of the best players in this league. I can't let that happen. We can't give up 14 points in under a minute and a half. Offense gave us a chance to win. We got to put it away on defense. That's what you want to say in the post game. You don't want to come out and blame the fans for booing. They had every right to boo in that situation. That's something that hasn't happened in over 20 years. You just allow something that hasn't happened in over 20 years to your defense at home and with a 13-point lead. So I feel what the fans are feeling. It's very frustrating to lose a game that way, and wish Myles would have maybe thought that one through a little bit.
So I'll say this to you, Tim, to Jay's point. I think that you do take on the personality of the people leading you. So Stefanski has a laid-back personality. What I don't see on this team is, because I've been around, I don't see no Ray Lewis personality. I don't see no Mike Singletary personality. I don't see the Richard Sherman personality. I don't see any of that with these Constantine, Aaron Donald. I don't see anybody here putting a check down on everybody.
Instead, you got one of your star players responding to knuckleheads on Twitter.
These are the dudes making the money.
You want me to make it worse? I'm going to make it worse for you. I just looked at the original tweet. No one tagged him in it, and he wasn't tagged.
So
he's
searching
his name on Twitter
That's
today.
what he's doing today.
He's searching his name on Twitter this morning to see who's blaming him. That's what's important to Denzel Ward today.
Or someone sent it to him.
Or someone sent it to him.
But in all fairness, if Denzel Ward this morning typed his name into a Twitter search bar and is reading those responses, we're done.
$100 million.
We're done as an organization. This was one of our best players.
So I'm going to give you another mic. I always give you these mics.
Someone had to send that to you.
I hope so.
This is the original tweet, just so you guys know, from John Costco.
I always give you these Michael Jordan quotes, right? So one of his favorite quotes is this.
Shout out to John Costco, too.
So here's the story. Michael used to say this: a hurt dog will bark. So think about that.
Yeah.
So Denzel Ward's feelings are hurt, so he's barking. That's why he's typing back. Instead of just saying, I screwed it up. I'll see you on Thursday. That's all we looking for.
Well, man, is that what I wanted to hear?
That's all we looking for. I screwed it up.
Yeah. I wanted to hear that from Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
I wanted to hear that. But instead, they're yelling at the fans for booing them. They're chirping back on Twitter.
Yeah.
We're in trouble, guys.
And
these are our defensive leaders.
And by the way, John Costco's not a random guy on Twitter. He's an NFL analyst. But Denzel Ward, if he wanted to respond, should have said, you know what? I sucked yesterday. That is never happening again. And I'm not going to allow it. Whatever. Say something.
Here, it's so as a former player, things happen. All right, just take some accountability and keep it moving. Right. The problem is you trying to justify that what my eyes didn't see what they saw.
Yeah.
Like
I know.
To your point, G. They throw the ball right. He's running down the sideline. The receiver. Denzel walking.
Man.
You walking.
Jogging behind the
What
play.
are you doing?
I'm quiet today because I'll be mad. I have to cool off a little bit. I mean, you giving up the plays. As a matter of fact, this goes back to 2020. Let's be clear, because when they was so-called rolling in 2020, look at the games they were up. Tennessee Titans game up big, gave up a bunch of points.
Oh, this is the trademark of this team.
Yeah. Pittsburgh Steelers game in the playoff that we anointed them. Yeah, you had 5 turnovers. All them points in the fourth quarter.
Yep.
They did it the first game this year. They continuously do it.
It's the DNA of this team.
It's what you are.
They have no killer instinct.
None. And you know what?
Yeah.
I don't think Kevin does.
No.
And I think the team now has assumed that personality.
Tim, is that the coach?
Tim, is that the coach? Because I mean, obviously most of the players are the same, but there are some new pieces. But we've seen this movie time and time and time. We play down to our competition in the fourth quarter every week. Is that the coach? What's going on?
Yeah, I think you're right about that. Teams do reflect the personality of their head coaches. I think that is an absolute fact. You can see it all the way from any team across the league. They kind of reflect the personality of the head coach. And if the coach doesn't get aggressive late in games, if he takes his foot off the gas, I think the players kind of do that as well. But I think it goes on the field. Somebody on that defense has to step up and be a vocal leader and make sure guys aren't letting up. You got to play the same way for 4 quarters. You can't play 3 great quarters and say, well, we did our job, and then you give up a ton of points in the fourth, and all of a sudden you're in a dogfight trying to win a game. So somebody's going to have to step up and be that emotional leader for these guys. Keep that intensity going for 4 quarters, because right now, like we said, over the last few years, we haven't seen them finish games. We've seen them play great at times, and we've seen them shut guys down, and then all of a sudden they give up a ton of points. But you got to finish games in this league, because if you don't, things like this happen.
Tim, but it's usually the vet that steps up.
Yeah.
Now, the people leading our defensive side, they're young players. Who is the vet? Because I don't see them. I don't see Wilbur Marshall. I don't see Otis Wilson. I don't see them. People keeping people in check. Because somebody would have checked Denzel. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He walked into training camp today. He getting checked this morning for that nonsense. Because I got Twitter too. I see it, right? And then Myles, let me explain something to you here. You two are making the most money here, right? You got to be the front dogs here, right? You can't be going back and forth with your fan base. You just cannot. It's ridiculous.
It don't make sense, man. It's just maybe we overestimated how good they are, guys. Maybe you overestimated.
That's
I'm
entirely possible. Maybe. I mean, they played the Jets and the Panthers, and they could be 0-2.
Maybe they're not as good as what they think they are or what we think they are. Because to me, I've not yet seen in the Kevin Stefanski era, as I look down into games, I have not seen them play a complete game.
The Bengals last year.
Where they dominated somebody.
I thought that was probably their signature win.
They started off few and far between.
Well, other than that, if you can only point to one in 2+ seasons, that's a problem.
So Jay, tell me, who is the person that calls people out here?
That's a great question. Who is it?
Because the coach not going to call nobody out. He's the guy to be like, you're going to talk in generality.
Well, then, you know what? Then a leader better emerge from within.
But hang on, because what you see publicly from Kevin Stefanski isn't necessarily who he is behind the scenes. We had the red-faced, emotional outbreak head coach here.
That doesn't always work
and Freddie
either.
Kitchens.
No.
Yeah. And look where that got you.
No, Jason, because in pro sports, you got to put people on the fire sometime. And the fire's in the paper. Right?
Right.
You got to make them mad.
Behind closed doors don't be working like that.
I got to come to practice and be mad that you was on me in the paper.
Well, whatever he's been doing, and we can maybe we can assume that it is behind closed doors. Whatever he's been doing isn't working.
I think we are being a little prisoner of the moment.
Yeah, because everyone loved Kevin's cool hand when he first got here. It was great.
There's plenty of coaches that yell and scream that don't do any winning.
That's exactly right.
No, you're right. I agree with that. But
you need to find a balance. You
don't hear me out here talking about yelling and screaming on rampages. I'm not. This is warranted. This is directed.
Yeah, you're right.
These are certain responses that come with the business, right? And this is not the business we're getting here.
Go ahead, Mikey.
This from Tyvis real quick. He wants to chime in. Then I have a question for Tim. But he said Denzel isn't wrong. He did only give up 1 catch, ... In man, he busted zone coverage, so technically not him. So pick your poison on how you want to read into that. But
doesn't matter.
Still not something he should be tweeting.
Whether Denzel Ward is right or not, it's irrelevant. That one play he gave up cost him the game.
I'm just being the messenger here. Tim, I do have a question for you, though, Tim. You mentioned Brissett off the top. He played pretty much an A-plus game for Jacoby Brissett standards. What was most impressive about number 7's performance, in your opinion, yesterday?
Well, I thought they did a great job early in the game, especially of getting the football out of his hands. They came out, you saw in those first couple drives, and they're throwing screens. They're getting the balls to the tight end. I thought they got Njoku involved with a couple catches on that first drive, and then they never went back to him. After that, I was thinking, once they got him going in the first quarter a little bit, you're thinking, all right, here he goes. They're going to start getting him more involved in the offense. And they never went back to him really after that first drive or so. But I thought Jacoby did an excellent job. I thought he was seeing the field extremely well. He knew exactly where he was going to go with the football. He knew exactly what that defense was doing. He was accurate with the football. He was making strong throws. I thought he played one hell of a game, man. He looked really good. He did everything he had to do to win that football game.
What did you see on the pick, though, Tim? What happened?
I think it's just one of those situations, at the end of the game where you're just trying to force it down the field. There's not a whole lot there. Obviously, the defense is playing soft. They're not trying to give anything up over the top, and you got to get a big play in that situation. So it's one of those things. It's going to be a tight window, and you're going to either get it in there barely or it's going to be a pick. So just maybe a touch late with it. If he throws it a little bit earlier, maybe he gets it in there. But other than that, man, he made the one mistake, but it should have never come down to that. He should have never been in that situation. The defense should have never put him there. He did what he had to do. He gave him a 13-point lead with a minute and a half to go. That's all you can do as a quarterback in this league, and you expect to win those games. But that interception was just a tough situation, and just trying to kind of desperation mode, just trying to make a play to get your team a chance to kick a field goal there.
It's a shame too.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he was perfect.
Tim, last thing. Yeah. Speaking of perfect, Amari Cooper was perfect until he didn't get on that onside kick. I don't know what he was doing there. But on offense, he played great. 10 targets, 9 catches, 100 yards, touchdown. That's the kind of number one receiver we're looking for. He on offense, he was fantastic.
I thought so too, man. I thought he played one hell of a game as well. He was getting open. His routes were great. Catching the football, he had a good understanding of the system and understanding of the defenses, finding the holes in the zones. He's a great football player, man. That's exactly what we were hoping to see when we signed Amari, to bring him in here. Those type of games are what we expect from him week in and week out, and that was good to see. You definitely want to see him step up, and he's looks like he's going to be a heck of a player here.
Yeah. Thanks, Tim.
Well, yeah, Tim, great stuff. We'll see you next Monday. Hopefully, we're talking about
See you next week.
a win Thursday over the Steelers. Take a quick second here. I want to remind everybody that it might be the most dramatic show in the history of shows. It's only 2 shows into its existence. In week 1, we watched a Baker Mayfield touchdown give the Panthers a lead, only to be followed up by the Browns hitting a 58-yard field goal to win the game. That was the first episode of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, Browns postgame show. In week 2, we watched the Browns score a touchdown to go up 13, only to blow the lead. Is there a show in the history of shows that's given you that much emotion swing? We opened our program with 40 seconds of the wild emotional swing from our 2-minute warning
Do you want to play
postgame
it again
show.
for anyone who may have missed it?
Yeah, let's play it again after I say this. Hit subscribe.
Yes.
Subscribe to this YouTube page and make sure you click the notifications, because we're going to let you know anytime we go live, which isn't just Monday through Friday, 11 to 1. It's also at the 2-minute mark of every Browns game, which includes this Thursday night. And anytime there's breaking news, we'll send out a notification. If it's a big breaking news story in Cleveland, you'll get the notification, and you'll be able to watch that story unfold live right here with the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. So subscribe, tell your friends. I'm hearing constantly every week from dozens of people. I didn't know this was a show. I didn't know this was a thing.
We had a lot more people. We had a lot of people the first
each week.
We had a lot more yesterday.
So it's
I don't know
growing.
how many watched it at this point.
But and we handed out the posters yesterday all around the stadium.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So hopefully we're helping to get the word out there. But we've already got 14,000 subscribers in just a couple of months, which is really pretty incredible. Mikey, go ahead and play that again. It's one of the craziest, wildest swings of emotion that you're ever going to see, and it pretty much mirrored what happened in week 1 yesterday. Take it, Steve.
And guys, for the first time since 1993, barring any catastrophic meltdown here in the final 2 minutes, the Cleveland Browns are 2-0.
A few moments later.
Oh my God, the Jets just scored a long touchdown. That is just embarrassing.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
Jets, stand by. Onside kick. The ball's loose.
2 seconds later.
Are you kidding me, Browns? What is going on here? They got their heads up their ass, fellas.
A few minutes later.
3rd and 10, Flacco drops back, throws it up the middle, caught, touchdown. Oh, my God.
Stop it.
Oh, my God.
Stop it.
McNuggets.
Touchdown Jets with 22 seconds left. Oh, my God. I'm going to be sick. I don't know. The fans must be throwing up like I was on Monday. This is as bad a regular season loss as you can have. And the reason I'm doing all the play-by-play is for some reason my television is ahead of everybody else's television.
He got a crystal ball.
His
I
television
don't know.
Hold on. No,
That
his
man
television's
got a
ahead of real
whole-
life.
I don't know what's going
It's
on.
ahead of real life.
It's
real
ahead of
life.
real life.
I-
Hey, if
I'm
it is,
looking-
call Vegas.
He's on regular cable. Y'all streaming. That's what it is.
Oh, I got DirecTV.
Oh.
I'm
Crazy.
looking at Brown Stadium from where I'm sitting, and they shoot the fireworks up after the touchdowns, which they scared me the first time they did it yesterday. And Bull's like, oh, they scored a touchdown. They hadn't shot the fireworks yet. He talked about the Nick Chubb touchdown before they even shot the fireworks.
Oh, my.
I'm like, that's game time. I'm like, we sitting there, and that's the crazy thing. We're sitting there giving our opinion about the Browns being 2-0.
Like, we were all excited.
Since the first time and in so many years.
CBS ran the montage.
And
they ran it.
God,
Steve Young and Bill Belichick were on the field the last time the Browns started 2-0. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
This is just,
Steve Young and Bill Belichick.
Oh.
Man,
30 years.
Listen.
And it's going to continue.
Well,
my God.
If they keep talking like they talking now, you know, when you was coming up and they said, stay out the paper, don't be reading your press clippings.
Yeah.
This is, I mean, you guys not understanding the context of where they at. While you over here searching your name, you're not even supposed to be on Twitter like that during the season. I thought people did not even, like, you go 0 dark 30, right? Because you know it's going to be some things said that you don't want to hear, and you got to be locked in, especially on a week. This is a short.
And bro, you know as well as I do, a dude that does that has a burner account too. And he didn't even use a burner account. So he just put it out there. LOL.
I'll go to this, right? Again, is, you know, these are young dudes who that's what they do is they stay on Twitter and IG and all that. But I'm off of that. I'm on this. Where's the internal police? The internal police are your peers. Who's checking people, G? When you talk about T.O. and the ones that always do the talking, right? They're holding people accountable. I didn't hear one accountable thing yesterday. I'm searching, Jay. I'm searching yesterday.
I'm going to say this.
There was nobody there.
I'm going to throw this out to y'all. For me, I don't know if they put too much stock in the Deshaun Watson thing. I don't know if people thought he was going to be the savior. I don't know whether or not they were so focused on getting the quarterback that people done forgot about their regular job. It just seems like, because these gaffes, these what they doing?
These is gaffes.
This is like day one JV football.
Yeah.
And it's like guys are out there with this calm, false sense of security. And I don't know
They're
if
like a bunch of prima donnas.
Well, Deshaun's going to come back in week 11. And he's going to come in on a white steed, and we're going to go undefeated and walk into the playoffs. No. Y'all got to do y'all's job, man.
Was I only one that saw the, first week? Did I miss it? I didn't see Hunt and Chubb in the backfield yesterday.
Oh, yeah, that was
I didn't see that yesterday. I thought they got solved.
I mean, in the end, it didn't matter because the offense did enough to win. But it was weird that they didn't do it.
I mean, it worked in week 1, so let's scrap it for week 2.
I didn't
None. Zero.
And by the way, I'm thinking more about Denzel's tweet. In a way, not only is he making excuses, but he's throwing other players under the bus.
He is, absolutely.
Right? He's saying, "Oh, it's not my fault; it's their fault."
I'll go back.
We can't have that on this team.
I'll go back to Hunt. I thought Hunt was hurt. I hadn't seen him in a long time. I said he must be hurt because they kept running Chubb. I said, "Where's?" Then Hunt popped up. He's back in the game. I'm like, what is going on here?
Hold on. I didn't see Anthony Schwartz or David Bell. Did they dress?
They played. Bell played.
David Bell got his bell rung.
Yeah, Bell had one catch and got
lit up.
nailed.
We didn't see Schwartz.
Anthony Schwartz was on the field one time early. I got a question, not to pivot, but that onside kick, and I'm not sure if any of you guys, you played, so maybe you could give us a little insight. What the hell was he trying to do, slapping it out of bounds?
First of all, Amari Cooper is not supposed to be on that
the front line.
No. He's not on the special teams. Amari Cooper is a veteran receiver.
Well, you always put your hands team out there for an onside kick.
No. Amari Cooper has not performed on the hands team. You could tell he was not prepared. He wasn't on the hands team.
That's a different issue, but every team puts their best hands guys on the field.
And their coach
Here's the problem I had with that. The Browns wisely used a timeout just before the play, and the kicker told where he was going to go. He started right over for the right side. Now, they took a timeout. Now, if you're the Jets, you kind of got caught there because the kicker was approaching when the timeout was called. So you wisely say, they read our hand. They think we're going to go to the right side, fake start to the right, kick it back to the left.
That's probably why Cooper was over there.
So
Kevin said they were expecting it to go left.
I was too. I immediately said it's going to go to the left. So if you know where it's going, and you've got your best hands guy on the field, how the hell do you not recover that?
4%.
4%. Think about this, but it's worse than that because 4% of onside kicks are recovered. But some of those, like sometimes there's an onside kick when the other team doesn't know it's coming.
Yes.
Yeah,
right?
true.
Those have to be, I don't know it for a
Not
fact.
many, though.
But those have to be a higher, raise the percentage.
I'm sure they
because
are.
You're more likely
Yeah.
to get it in that
Yeah.
situation.
It almost
it's
never
not happening
happens.
very often that
No.
way. But it's probably 3 out of 100 known onside kicks.
I just couldn't
that get
figure
recovered.
out why he was waiting for the ball to come to him.
Because he's
Or
not,
smacked it.
He's,
That's what I don't get.
he's
Why?
not used to
He's
being
not used to
there.
being
The
there.
dudes up front.
Okay, that's
you-
a Mike.
you-
That's a Mike Prefer
So
problem.
the dudes up front, you better be prepared. This is going to be a scrum.
Yes.
They're coming. Right? So you got to have dogs up front that's ready to get in the mix.
You usually see fullbacks, tight ends, running backs on that list. Amari Cooper is not.
They had J.O.K. and David Bell, and it split right between the two of them, and Cooper was behind them.
He waited for the ball.
That's what I couldn't understand.
said, you waiting on
Go
the
attack
ball?
the ball. Go get it. Go get it. It's a loose football essentially, and you're waiting for it to come to you.
But Mikey, you're taught.
It's a slow hit
You're
ball in
taught to knock it
baseball.
out of
It
bounds.
is. Charge the ball.
You're
Hey, hold
taught.
on, Jason, I want to hear this.
You're taught to knock it out of bounds because it's your possession.
That is your ball, right there.
And then there's no chance of it squirting out of you or
That's right.
a scrum underneath
Right.
and someone taking it from you. Just knock it out of bounds.
Mikey,
And you got the
You're
ball.
at practice, though. Is that something they practice? Maybe it's not able
Oh,
to
they
see
practice
it.
that. I'm sure they spend time practicing that.
You don't practice crashing
Let
into
me
each
put
other,
this in
but you
terms
practice
of Mikey.
knocking it out
Mikey, a
of bounds.
basketball player. Mikey, loose ball on the floor. What you supposed to do, Mikey?
Dive on it.
Get on the ground.
Get it.
You supposed to wait for it to come to you?
Never.
You better go get that ball.
Go get it, because
Slow-
someone else will if you
slow
don't.
hit ball in baseball. What
Charge
are
it.
you doing? Are you
Charge it,
charging
charge
it?
it.
Eliminate the hops. Go get it. Go get, and he's waiting for the ball. And you know what? It's kind of a microcosm of what the Browns were doing. They were waiting for the victory to fall into their arms, and it never made it.
And I was
This
like-
might be one of the worst cases of snatching defeat from the jaws
for
of
sure.
victory I have
Because you
ever
can point,
seen.
Think about it. You went through it before. We can go through it again. Kareem Hunt going out of bounds. Nick Chubb not taking the knee. Although I blame the coaching staff. You can blame Nick Chubb if you want. The missed extra point, the 65-yard touchdown with the blown coverage, the onside kick, and then a number of plays on that foul.
Myles Garrett making one tackle.
And then even the pick. Like, if any of the pick
Yes.
on the end of the game, any of those, like, 10 things don't happen, the Browns win the game.
So let me tell you this. You know, we glazed over it. I'm looking at the special team coach sideways.
I am too.
Sideways.
How he still keep providing? He keeps surviving. Like he's just a Game of Thrones. He's Littlefinger. How is Littlefinger still coaching?
They never have a good return game. They generally. I know
my
they have
God.
one good
He
return.
tried fixing it, and
Hold
then
on.
he got
They
hurt.
generally don't have good returns.
They never kick it in the end zone.
If I see
You got schooled on a fake punt.
if
Yep.
I see,
I forgot about the fake
if I see another punt returner drop another ball,
I know. Hey, listen, they avoided disaster yesterday
2 weeks in a
because
row.
there was a fumble.
Now, in fairness, they did address the return game. They signed Jakeem Grant, and he got hurt. He's out
Right?
for
No,
the year.
that's true.
So
but,
they tried.
But coaches coach the guys they have, and they
Coach
coach
up
them
the
up.
guys, man.
That's true. That's
he's
fair.
gone.
I need therapy. I literally have decided I do need therapy. It's okay to
There's
say
a lot
that.
of
Right?
people
Jay, you know how I
therapists
got
today.
therapy yesterday? For 2 hours, I'm sitting there with my grandson and watch this game, right? I just sat there like this. My kids are calling me from Maryland, from Purdue. My kid called me from Purdue. She like, Browns suck, Dad. And then my one from Maryland saying, is this happening to us again? Everybody across, Phil Hubbard called me, the old Cavalier.
Shout out to Phil Hubbard.
Driving back from Virginia. He's like, I'm listening to this on the radio. What just happened here? I said, dude.
I know it's disturbing when you've lived other places and you've collected friends all over, and you've worked at a place where people are from all over. You do, for some reason, like we all know the guy that's a Tigers fan.
Right.
And when they screw up, we get on.
Yeah.
And we all know people that, root for the Rams or whatever. So every time, which is frequently, every time Browns, Indians, or Cavs stub their toe nationally, I feel like throwing my phone in the toilet.
Okay. You know you'll get.
And I know that these are friends of mine.
I know.
And if I showed you some of the things I had to read yesterday on text,
Oh, my God. Me
I
too.
wanted to throw up.
My basketball guys just hit me up. I said, my James Madison, my guys, I played Wayne Broyles. He played at James Madison. Said, G. Bush, what we doing here, bro? I said, bro,
And we're not allowed to boo that.
Tyvis Powell's never had a drink? I didn't know that.
28
No,
years.
Tavis doesn't drink
he don't
at
drink.
all.
I didn't
he
know
don't
that.
drink.
I mean, I don't drink. I actually had a beer this weekend
Shout
for the
out
first time in like a year.
Shout out to the straight and narrow, my man.
Yeah, no.
I did hear from some NBA people like Browns. LOL.
Isn't it funny how they because you're the Cleveland de facto guy, so
Yeah.
everybody you know from around, and we're not allowed to boo. Man, I have a real problem with that, guys.
Oh, absolutely.
I have a real problem with that he thinks. It's one thing to think that. Because I'm sure all the players are like, it really sucks we're getting booed.
Yeah, nobody wants to
But
be booed.
he went there.
Yeah.
With a microphone in front of his
that's how
face.
soft this team is.
I know.
They're
Say it again.
soft.
So
They're soft.
I will tell you again, on every championship level team, right, there's one de facto leader here that everybody knows who it is. The media knows who it is. The internal players know it is.
Who's ours?
Who's ours?
I thought it was Myles Garrett.
It's not the people here, and I'll give you a clue. It's usually not the people making the most money.
You need a Draymond Green type dude.
Yes.
You need a Draymond Green.
Well, for
He's
you
not
it was.
afraid-
I mean,
yeah.
MJ was your clear cut, but that's pretty rare. And I think LeBron is obviously that guy.
At that time, I gotta say this. At that time, he was the leader, but he wasn't a vocal leader. What you saw in the last dance, that came in the last bit of his career.
Yeah.
He wasn't
Really?
like that. But when I got to the Pistons, Lambeer, Isaiah Thomas,
They were the sheriffs.
do something wrong here.
Yeah.
And who-
Daryl Walker, guys off the bench, like, do something wrong.
You know
I'm
what's
getting your
funny
grill
that
right
you
here.
say that? Like, I remember when I was in Columbus covering Ohio State, and they had that Silver Bullets defense that won the Rose Bowl against Jake Plummer in Arizona State. They had a premier running back come to Ohio State from Chicago. And he was, I think it might have been Montgomery. His last name might have been Montgomery. I can't remember. But he was all world. Everybody thought that he was going to be the next Eddie George.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember one day they were doing gassers in practice, and all of a sudden there was a scrum, and guys weren't really paying attention, and everybody looked over, and there was kind of like a little bit of an altercation. And it was Mike Vrabel, and I think it was Montgomery. I think that was the running back's name. And afterwards, all the reporters were like, what was going on there? And Vrabel said, I'm not going to have that. This kid comes in here dripping with talent and all the headlines and all the expectations. And he's going to be the leader of this program when I'm gone. Not on my watch. Mm-hmm. He got in his grill, and Finkus did, and Fickle did. Mm-hmm. Those were the linebackers of that team. And now I look, and here's Mike Vrabel, coaching in the NFL. Fickle's doing a wonderful job at Cincinnati. Yep. It's okay to have John Cooper. You probably didn't even see that Montgomery was gassing it.
Jay, I call them internal police. You have to have them.
And we don't have them.
We don't have any of them, right? We don't have any of them. Your best players on both sides of the ball are silent players. They just play.
Yeah, right? Chubb and Garrett, between the two of them, are like church mice.
2016 NBA Finals, right? Cavs down 3-1. It ain't LeBron and Kyrie. I remember Dante Jones coming in, getting a big-time bucket.
Got a couple big minutes
flexing on him. Richard Jefferson, Chandler. Like, those was the dudes. Those was the guys.
Holding people accountable.
And they make that run, 3-1 comeback. We understand that Kyrie and LeBron was getting the buckets, but they had veterans on that bench.
They do the setup for people to do the. Myles Garrett's a closer. He ain't closed nothing yesterday, right? Nothing, right? And then I said, when Clowney went out, I said, oh my God, because now the heat on you now.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And what did he do?
And your production went.
What did he do?
Straight down.
That final drive when the Jets just marched it down the field after the onside kick, Myles Garrett did nothing.
Look at those
Right?
numbers,
They got
guys.
no pressure.
Can you put those up, Steve?
That's
again?
more alarming to me than the blown coverage was the last drive.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, you're going to miscommunicate. It can't happen, but okay, it's
Let's
a
get some
mistake.
pressure on the quarterback.
But the fact that they did it again, and the fact that Robert Saleh said afterwards, we knew we were going to score. As soon as we got the ball back, we knew we were going to score.
Who said this? Somebody said this on the set earlier. Garrett Wilson ran through here like he was at Ohio.
That's what it looked like.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
exactly what
And
it
so
looked like.
here, on the flip side of that, I don't like Denzel Ward. We all Buckeyes, right? But I'm supposed to be like in practice. I got you. You ain't getting nothing.
Thank
man.
you.
You get nothing today.
I know.
Shut it down.
It's supposed.
And as long as we're talking about defensive schemes, why are we only rushing 4?
They play a passive defense.
Well, guess what? That gets 34 points scored on you in the fourth quarter in 2 games. Why are we only rushing 4?
Especially with Clowney out because you don't have that protection on the other side.
What did we think of the 4 defensive end set that they were running yesterday at times?
Getting locked up. Chase Winovich was on a milk box. I don't even know what he does.
Was he missing
But I thought it's an interesting concept.
Yeah.
You put 4 defensive ends in the game at once.
But they weren't getting there.
And they was getting locked up.
And guys, they had a statue for a quarterback back there. He threw for 300
And the
yards
Jets'
and 4
offensive
touchdowns.
line is not good.
Bingo. Not only do you have
know.
a statue of quarterback, you got a 4-string project starting at right tackle and a left tackle who was the right tackle.
Who's not that
so
good.
Jay, as I'm watching this debacle unfold and we're getting no pressure, against a bad offensive line and an immobile quarterback. I'm saying, they're going to dial up something exotic here. That they have to.
Nothing.
And four guys with their hands in the dirt, and here they come, and everybody dropping back into coverage, and those guys are getting burned.
And you're getting beat.
I can't explain it.
And guys, by the way, we put up that stat before the tweet where it said this is the first time this scenario's happened since the Browns in 2001. Right. I would love to know if somebody could figure out when's the last time it happened where the team.
My son asked me that yesterday.
Had no timeouts.
I don't know.
Right?
I don't know.
Probably even no timeouts.
He asked me. He said, "Okay, so the Browns have done it twice in the last 21 years.
Yeah.
Who, if anybody, has done it prior to that?"
No, but even another step with no timeouts. The other team had no timeouts. It should never happen.
Even when he's out there in these packages, and Anthony Walker on passing down obvious passing downs, he shouldn't be in the game. Why do you not have 3 safeties deep? 1 right in the middle field and 2 on the outside.
I'd be fine with that.
Then you put JOK as the only linebacker, and you can also use Ronnie Harrison in the place of a linebacker.
Because there's no creativity from this defensive coordinator.
That's not rocket scientist.
And Saleh knew they were going to score because he knew what they had.
What's my nickname?
I know, little genius. Is that what you call him?
Little Einstein.
Hey, guys, I said this before the season started, and I took some heat for it from people. He's on the clock. We're watching you now.
Oh yeah,
because
absolutely.
To your point earlier in the show, there's no more OBJ. There's no more Baker. You've got 2 Pro Bowlers on each side of the line, perennial Pro Bowlers. I'm not talking about once in a while. With Chubb on that offense, you should know you should never lose a game.
Patience is thin. You see what happened to the coach in Nebraska. After 2 weeks, you out of here.
Yeah.
Herm Edwards over the weekend, you out of here, right? Because at some point here, you the leader.
And I'm not advocating doing that. I'm not. But I'm saying you're on the clock. This is your season to get
You're the leader of this thing.
Yeah. Restamp your genius credentials.
Ward is Denzel's at the podium right now. He was just asked about that blown coverage. Let's take this full. This was his response, and quote, "It was just another miscommunication similar to the one we had in the first game."
Well, that's not okay. That's not an acceptable answer.
It is for his coach.
I mean, well, it seems like you're right. And I am saying, listen, Kevin Stefanski's on the clock, no doubt. If the defense doesn't turn around soon, then Joe Woods has got to be gone. And he's got to be gone because last year we had the defense, we understood they would get off to a slow start. There were a lot of new players on the defense, and you had a really tough schedule in the beginning of the year. This year, they got a nothing schedule and no new players except for, what's his name, the third corner, the kid they drafted.
Martin Emerson.
Outside of Emerson, everybody else on this defense was here last year. They're playing Carolina and the Jets, 2 of the teams we expect to be 2 of the worst offensive teams in the league. Pittsburgh this week, terrible offense. Atlanta next week, terrible offense.
And then
There's
it's
no
coming.
excuse.
And then it's coming.
Oh yeah, if you don't start 3-1 with what we've seen so far, making the playoffs is a joke.
Yeah, we talked about the Kansas City Chiefs. They've given up big leads against the Chiefs. They're up like 17 at halftime. They're beating the Chiefs going into the fourth quarter. We can't.
But at least that's the Chiefs. At least I can say, well, at least it's a great offense. What's the excuse this
Carolina
year?
and
Baker Mayfield completed less than 50% of his passes.
Let's go back to.
He did. He was terrible. They lost 19-16.
I want you guys to take
0-2.
You know what I'm most appalled at? The clock management.
Oof. Oh, it's horrible.
It was awful.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like.
And that's elementary
this is like
at this point.
Junior high football and basketball. Somebody's got to manage the clock. I'm like, you're supposed to be the smartest dude in the room. You don't know the time.
The analytics team.
They don't have somebody saying, why don't they got all the money in the world.
Wait, why do they need somebody,
I got a clock management guy, and his only job is to say, Coach, hey,
give me the situation.
Hey, situation is 155. If we take a knee, if we get the rock, we're done. So let's keep
I'm with Jay. You don't need a guy.
I'm sitting there at home now. I'm not calling the plays, but I'm sitting there at home saying, oh, God, you get to the 1 yard line and you fall and the game is over.
And
everybody's like, no, you get the touchdown. I'm like, no. You take a knee.
2 years
the game's
ago,
over.
they did that.
Against
2 years
Houston.
ago, it was the Houston game at Houston. Kevin called no mas. He told Chubb, if you get the first down, don't score. We're going to run the clock out. Nick Chubb ran 59 yards
And fell.
and stopped
Did he
and
tell
ran
him
out
that-
at the
did he
1
tell
yard
him
line.
today-
Did not
yesterday?
tell him that yesterday.
That's what I'm saying.
Did not tell him
Again,
that
because
yesterday.
he's caught up in the moment.
And that's
I get
not
it,
on
but
Nick.
then
That's not on Nick.
I'll say
Nick's
this.
job is to run hard and score
but all
until
that
he's
being
told
said,
otherwise.
Nick could have had the presence of mind to do
I think
it.
that's asking a lot.
I
Don't
blame
run
It
the
is,
coach.
it
I
is,
100%.
but-
I think it's on the
guys,
coach.
Also, you
hold on
know
one
the
second.
situation. It's 1st and 10 from the 12. I mean, you don't have to
And,
be a genius
Jay,
to know that you can get a first down without scoring.
But here's why it's totally on the coach in my opinion, because it wasn't like it was the heat of the moment. It was the 2-minute warning.
I know they had
The
time to
coach
think
had
about
plenty
it.
of time to tell him,
Right.
hey guys, if we get the first down,
You're right.
get down before the goal line.
This is
get
the new.
down.
This is the new NFL. We saw it last year with the Chargers. The Chargers were trying not to
Chargers
score.
cost themselves a playoff spot.
But the Chargers against the Browns were trying not to score, and the Browns defenders were dragging Austin
Yes,
Eckler into
absolutely.
the end
Because
zone
it's
so
smart.
they could get the ball back.
Yes,
Right.
exactly.
That's the new
But-
NFL.
but-
you have a chance if you have the ball. If you don't have the ball,
the game's
you
over.
can't win.
And that's why I said analytics will tell you it was a 99.9% chance the Browns win. There's a 100% chance they win if he
If
takes
you
a
have
knee.
the ball.
Here's the
So
problem.
analytics said dumb play.
Here's the problem. When you have these new coaches, right? They don't have the experience. They don't have any experience, right? Because somebody been through the rigors with know what Bull just said. Because I'm going to tell you what, there's no way in the world that anybody doing math, and I get it, a head coach can get lost in the game. You sure can. It happens all the time.
Someone should have figured it out.
Somebody has to be in somebody's
You're in the huddle
ear
in the 2-minute warning.
to
Hey, guys.
remind you what is going on
So
here.
Alex Van Pelt is on the sideline next to Kevin. Drew Petzing, the quarterback's coach, is the one in the booth. So I don't know who you want.
Hey,
Tell him
hold
that,
on.
but
Hey.
those are the two people he's
I'll
probably
take
relying
Jacoby
on most.
Brissett to say it. I'll take Nick Chubb to figure it out. I'll take anybody. There's a lot of
Van
smart
Pelt-
guys in that organization.
What does Van Pelt do? What does
That's a
he do?
great question.
What does he do?
It's a great question.
I can't even. He talks on Monday.
I'm sure he works with Kevin on the game plan.
Well,
He looks like Freddie Kitchens.
he does. Well, he need to be in somebody's ear saying, "Hey guys, this is what the down and this is what we
But
need
Jay
to move
just
with."
made a hell of a point. Where's Brissett at? You've been in this league. We don't need to score.
And
Yeah, we
because
can't-
Chubb has been in that situation
we
before,
can't-
I'm not blaming Nick.
No.
But he
I don't-
could have.
I don't blame Brissett. I don't. Anybody on the field, you're going to score. Your job is to score until someone else tells you no.
That's the call. I agree with Jason. I'm
I-
100%. Yes, in theory, Nick Chubb
Yes.
could have thought of it in the moment.
And guess what? We'd all be hailing him today as the conquering
but in
hero.
the end, that's the coach's job.
It is the coach's
Yes.
job. You're
Yes.
right. But I'm saying sometimes at work, we do things that our boss doesn't stand over us 24/7 and say, okay, now you need to do this.
Yeah.
Okay, now do this. We're adults. We're experienced. We need supervision. We don't necessarily need direction on everything. So what I'm saying is, yes, in theory, the head coach says, no mas. Take a knee. Game's over. We're 2-0. On to Pittsburgh. But it could have come from Brissett. Hey, guys, I'm looking at the clock here. And if my math is right, we can get a first down without scoring. And they don't have timeouts. And we'll run the clock out and the game is over. So if they decide, because you know what I'm surprised that we didn't see? I'm surprised we didn't see the Jets just say ole.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, he did that on his own. But if I'm the Jets defense, I'm like, let him score.
And Robert Saleh said the echo in his headset when Nick Chubb scored was, now we have a chance.
Yes.
Because we have the ball.
They have a chance.
so Jay-
99.9% chance that the Browns win. But
you
that
gotta-
0.1%.
you got a chip in a chair.
You got to
You've
keep
got the
trying.
ball.
You got a chip in a chair. You're absolutely right. And they cashed in.
So I wonder, I wonder if somebody will ask him, Jason, maybe when you're around, the clock management. That's symbolic of your inability to be thinking on the job in the moment. That's what it is.
But it really hasn't been an issue with him.
No, it hasn't. That's why I was so surprised.
Yeah, this was to me more of a one-off. I'm sure there's other instances that
That
we
was
can
an issue last week. We
depict.
couldn't get out the huddle good.
There were times where going into the half, I thought he didn't use a timeout last week at Carolina going into the half that he could have used, that he should have used.
I'm trying to remember now.
Those don't roll over. Like
Yeah, right.
you got a timeout. You can use them. You can think. I thought the timeouts yesterday were well used. I did.
That's why
I think it is a one-off. I don't question Kevin Stefanski normally on his clock management, but yesterday was a swing and a miss.
Things can,
100%.
When you're in the moment, things can get away from. That's why I said the person in the second chair is important. They're very important.
And that's why I say the preseason is important. All of these things are things you get to work on.
Yeah, I agree with you 1,000%.
When the
But he's in
bullets are
his
flying.
third year. You shouldn't have to work on the preseason.
No.
But it's
Other
it's
issues.
ramping. It's
It's
ramping.
reps.
There's
It's
other
reps.
issues to work on in the preseason, but it shouldn't be clock management.
It shouldn't be, but every rep helps. You know what, Jay? I don't think he'll ever make this mistake
Look,
again.
Every one of these
I agree.
things.
If you make that mistake in a preseason game, you study it and go, wow.
And again,
I'll never do that again.
And again, Sally said after the game yesterday, we're going to use what the Browns did as one of our Friday teaching
Sally
moments.
shouldn't be saying. Sally shouldn't
I
be
agree.
saying
He's
nothing.
saying a little bit
We
too
let
much.
you- we let
Yeah,
you
I
off
thought
the
so
hook.
I
too.
agree
That
with
guy's doing
that.
an awful lot of talking for a guy who ate one
But
squat.
the fact is, he said it, and
We
he
let you off
said
the hook.
we're going to use what the Browns did as a Friday
the Browns
teaching.
egged, you know.
It'll never happen, but man, I'd love to see that team again in the playoffs.
No, that'll never
I mean, I
happen.
don't think either team's going anywhere, but I would love
My
to see them
gosh,
again.
Man, they had an opportunity. You don't gotta. And if you're not teaching it, you condoning it. If you sitting here saying, man, we got an opportunity, we ain't gotta hit all crazy. You could do this in a classroom.
These are basic
This is
things.
classroom stuff and
I don't-
OTAs.
And I don't think talent's the problem, because when we say maybe we overrated the talent, I think it gives the team a pass. I don't think we've overrated the talent, but maybe we've overrated the culture. Like, we all thought they went to the playoffs 2 years ago. Maybe the culture of this franchise has finally been fixed, and clearly it's better than what it was. But it's still not a great culture on this team. There's a long way they need to go in terms of culture and in terms of leadership across the board. They're led by a bad leader in Jimmy Haslam and down the board. I mean, I think that's a
Bull,
problem.
I said at the start of the show that I think that Coach Stefanski is now, this week, this is the biggest coaching test of his life.
Oh, I mean, this.
Does everybody agree with that?
You're going to have one practice, maybe.
I know.
Between now and
And I don't
Thursday.
think it's the X and O thing.
Oh, and
I think it's up here.
Yeah.
He's got a wounded duck team. You went in that locker room yesterday and you saw it. If that team takes the field against Pittsburgh, we're looking at another L.
You were talking earlier about the locker rooms that you've seen. The only thing that the first thing that came to mind for me, and listen, I saw the Cavs lose championships, so I'm trying to eliminate that.
Right.
Because that's different when you lose a
It
championship.
is.
Yes.
But the one that stuck to me was when JR lost track of the time.
Yeah.
Oh.
Absolutely.
And when I went in that locker room,
It felt
after
like
that,
yesterday, I
It
bet.
felt like yesterday.
Yeah, that gets-
I talked to LeBron in the locker room after that, and I just asked him a question, and it was the only time in 4 years with him where he opened his mouth and nothing came out, and he just went. You've heard, and that was the feeling I had yesterday talking to guys, where I would try and make small talk with them of what the hell just
And nothing
happened,
came out, they were like we were.
and nothing came out. They opened their mouth and nothing came out.
So let me ask you this, because you always hear this term in sports, right? From the players. I'm going to give you the players' perspective. Who's the coach on the floor?
No,
They don't have
We
it.
don't know.
That's a problem.
It is.
You have to have a coach on the floor.
And you know this as well as anybody because you lived it. Leaders are born. They're not anointed.
They're not manufactured.
They're not created.
just because you're
You're
the best
right.
player on the team
Yeah,
does
or make
not
the
make
most
you a
does
money.
leader.
not make you a
Yeah,
leader.
or
And
make the
so,
most money, don't
so
make you a
here's
leader.
when I'm looking at the personality, the makeup of our players. Like, I can't put Perrion Winfrey's attitude into Myles Garrett's body.
Well, he got benched to this game.
I know he did.
You know,
I know he did. Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, we all kind of liked his moxie on draft day. He said the right things. He gets us.
Yeah,
we liked him. But you got to have the talent to match that. You can't be a third-string guy who's saying, come on, let's take this hill.
Think about the best players on their team, right? We've named some of them.
They're all the same
Myles
guy.
Garrett, Nick Chubb.
Look at Amari Cooper.
Denzel Ward, Amari
You
Cooper.
can barely
Even
hear
on
him
the
in
offensive
postgame.
line, Joe Batonio. They're all nice guys, you know.
Yes.
Wyatt Teller's got a kind of nasty streak. I don't know. Maybe they need to get him.
Where is Ndamukong Suh? Where is he at?
Where's Joey Porter?
Where is that person at?
Where's
James
Warren
Harrison.
Sapp? Where's James Harrison? Derek Brooks, Ray Lewis. Somebody brought up Ray Lewis
I
before.
said Ray Lewis.
Could you imagine if Ray Lewis was on a team that lost like
he'd have
this?
killed somebody.
He would have stood in front of the locker room and
They
said, I'm
had-
taking you out
they
one
had
at a time.
They had
One on
four.
one.
They had
Nah, he was-
four.
he was
Ray,
in the
they had
car.
Ray
Yeah.
Lewis, Ed Reed,
Yeah.
Sackmaster Terrell Suggs, and Haloti Donna. And
I mean,
it was
that's
all
an
me.
unusual team.
No,
I
no,
mean,
wait a minute.
you know,
So wait a
yeah.
minute. I'm glad you said
Yeah.
that. Is it unusual or was it by design? Was Ozzie Newsome saying, I need some dogs?
But I
Well,
don't,
sure,
I don't
yeah,
know if
but-
you. I don't know. Can you know that before you get them in the building? I
Well,
don't know that you can.
Well, no.
Ray
The way
Lewis.
they psychologically profile these kids now coming
Ray.
before the draft, they give them such voluminous testing that they, look, do they miss on some? Of course they do.
But they
these
miss a lot,
profile,
Jay. You wouldn't-
I know
if
they do,
I
but
don't-
what I'm saying is, So you want talent. Some teams say I want talent and good character.
Right.
That was Tony Dungy.
That's
okay?
That's Cleveland's MO.
Tony Dungy had a lot of really good players that were really good guys. And then John Gruden came in the building and said, no, screw that. I want talent with a bunch of people that want to kill if they lose a game.
Yeah.
And he transformed their mindset in a year, and they win the Super Bowl. In Baltimore, that was what it almost seems like it was too coincidental. They were getting too many of these dogs.
Right.
And what they had then collectively was a group of dogs that performed like it was a pack mentality out there.
And Pittsburgh had that too.
Pittsburgh had
and they
that
don't
too.
really anymore, and they're not as good.
I know. So what I'm saying is, if we're drafting a bunch of super nice, hey shucks, good job, nice, let's try to win it again tomorrow, fellas.
We'll fix it.
With a bunch of
No,
with a bunch of
I
talent.
want a Ray Lewis in the room that's going to stand at the locker room door and say, nobody's getting in here past me. We've got an issue right now. Because I'm not playing with a bunch of losers. And right now, that's what I feel like.
For me, I just look at it like this. You know, what was their record last year? 7 and 8?
8-9.
8-9. Okay, cool. 8-9. You 8-9. And by the way, your coach, that was coach of the year. This is the elephant in the room. The game they won, you was at home, dog. That Pittsburgh game, you was at the crib.
Browns have, since winning their first playoff game in forever, they've lost 11 of 20 games.
And we had your assistants out there. You couldn't call plays. You couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
Now, to me, I'm looking at it like, okay, Coach Stefanski, what's your signature win?
Cincinnati last year.
So I'm gonna come back to this, G.
That's what you got.
So to Jay, to your point, I don't think it's a person you could draft. Like you might be able to hit later. We are now in the midst of a window. You're missing an element on this team. It's clear to me, right?
Yeah.
You have to go to the market and bring a person in here.
It's hard to do in the middle of the season.
Well, you got to
They should have
find
known
somebody.
that going into
well,
the
here,
year.
this is where we are, Bull. Because I tell you what, when you just said the thing about the person at the locker room door, making sure nobody gets by me. In Chicago, that was Charles Oakley. You wasn't getting by him. Yeah.
Well, the Rams did it last year. I mean, they had
Von
Aaron
Miller.
Donald, obviously, but
Donald.
they traded for Von Miller.
Yeah.
And maybe the Browns need to make a move like that. I mean, go get some. But it's not easy.
Because if we continue to do what we have seen the first 2 weeks, this thing going to go south real quick, real fast.
Mike, I just sent you something. Can you play that on tag board?
Yeah, but real quick, let's take a look at this quote here from another Denzel Ward quote from his presser today.
Lord.
Talking about the
Now we'll hold our
miscommunication
breath.
on defense. No, this is actually a decent point. I wasn't aware that they were rotating side by Anthony Walker and someone else with the green dot who calls plays on defense. Do you guys think the rotating players could lead to any of that miscommunication?
No, I don't. I mean, first of all, why are they doing it? Why are they doing it that way?
What are they doing?
Yeah, why are you doing it that way?
What?
Anthony Walker wears the green dot. Just
Hold
so you
on,
guys
hold on. Let's
know.
G
He comes
explain
out on
this.
third down passing plays.
Come on, G, explain this to me.
You telling me they got multiple people on the field calling the plays into the
Ridiculous.
y'all guys are gonna lose every game.
Yeah.
Nobody does that. It's just like
ridiculous.
saying,
It's ridiculous.
you know what? Don't let the quarterback. This is how they work on offense. Even the quarterback, when he says his cadence, Jacoby Brissett has to bird dog or copy Deshaun Watson's cadence. He can't have his own flow because they want it all to sound alike.
Right.
You get on the defense, you got people looking to the sideline, and if you got Phillips calling it in one way, if you got Anthony Walker calling it in one way, what if one of them don't know that? What if one of them don't get the call right? What if one of them is slow interchanging or diagnosing what the coach want to happen? Like, that's impossible.
And what's impossible to me is we're at week 2 and we're just now talking about this.
What?
Like,
No one does that.
I know.
Nobody does
First
that.
of all, how does that happen? Secondly, how does it continue to happen?
It's just
No
it's
preseason.
I
mean,
don't know. I
you
think
got
you
it.
guys are overstating that a little bit.
No.
There's plenty of teams that don't play guys
Bull,
that they
Bull.
all struggling.
we
Think of the
started this
mistakes
show.
this team has made.
Yeah, but we could probably point. I'm not looking at the other teams, but I bet you we could point to 5 teams that didn't play in the
They've made
preseason.
3 communication mistakes
I know.
in 50-yard touchdowns or more.
When we started this show,
Yeah.
each person had been on a set somewhere doing something in communication.
Right.
But they brought you together and said, hey,
let's do some
we
rehearsals.
need to do some rehearsals, run that back.
Figure how we all
And
fit
how long
together.
did it take
How-
before we got a
You guys
cadence
are acting
going?
like they don't ever practice.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, I think you're
Yeah,
overstating.
no, you
You're
do practice, but there's elements that you can't
But guys, there are teams
simulate
that
in practice.
There are other teams probably. I didn't look at the other teams right now, but there are other teams I'm sure that didn't play their guys in the preseason that are starting well.
The
And I'm sure-
champions are.
No, we talked about that last week. The
What?
teams that didn't play their starters in the preseason were 1-4.
Yeah.
And the Browns were one of the victories.
I'm just
There were
saying.
only 5 teams. What do you mean?
Yeah, I mean, you must not have been here when we read that stat.
Oh.
Somebody
Maybe
found
that was
it.
post throw up Monday.
What was that?
Can you play that tag board?
The issue is it just doesn't have sound. There's no sound through tag board.
Oh,
So
Well,
Damn,
well,
that's one
here's
of my
the thing.
favorite soundbites ever.
If the
God,
if
that
the
sucks.
top of the food chain, if you want to get to the top,
Yeah.
you can't do bare minimum.
Well,
you got to do
I mean,
everything.
the Rams won the Super Bowl. They don't
No,
play
that
their
don't
guys.
work.
in the
No,
preseason.
they lost.
work.
They
That
lost
don't
week
work.
1 too.
They lost week 1 too.
They won the Super Bowl last year.
Kansas
So
City,
last year was last year.
They didn't play their guys
The
in the preseason.
Kansas City Chiefs have a $500 million man. Andy Reid put him out there like, get it together.
He played a lot in the second
Played a
preseason
lot.
game.
Yeah.
and
played
we
a
got,
lot.
our,
I hear
we,
you.
we got our backup.
And I don't think Patrick Mahomes needs
So let
practice.
me,
No, he
let
doesn't.
me get to the practice thing, right? I remind you of Larry Brown and Iverson, right?
Yeah, we're talking about practice.
Talking about practice here? Practice is important because it's the repetition.
Yes.
I know,
It's
and
holding
they did
everybody
practice. You're
accountable.
talking about preseason
So,
games.
Yeah,
but
well,
that is practice.
that
That's
is practice for the
That's
regular
practice.
season.
did
That's
play.
right.
You're telling me
minimal.
you're telling me if he
Minimal.
would have played 10 more plays, this whole season would
not
start
just-
differently.
Listen.
Come
I'm
on,
not
that's
even
silly.
I'm not going to point to
talking-
Brissett.
we're
The
talking about
problem is on
everybody.
defense. The problem is on defense.
But some of those guys played.
Denzel Ward didn't.
No,
he
Denzel didn't see the
He
field.
didn't even be. He wasn't even OTAs.
The communication mistakes I think have nothing to do with him not playing in the
Oh,
preseason.
no.
I
No.
It's
Everybody else in the backfield knew what the call was. One
Except
dude
everybody
didn't.
else.
It only takes one.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
It only takes one guy.
It's not like there was 4 of them in 4 different coverages.
No, you're
Everybody
right.
knew the call except,
except one.
guy.
Well,
you got-
that's
I mean,
not
that's
a
a problem.
Yeah,
preseason
you got one dude.
That's
for
an
the, you got one
attention
dude for the
issue.
Big Ten, one dude for the SEC,
but
one
here's-
dude for the Big East.
But you
or
got one
whatever,
dude on this
ACC.
game, but then you had another dude the previous game.
It's been two
Two different guys. So yeah, like if one person busts,
This isn't a one-off. This is a problem.
It's
a problem.
It's massive. It's right in your face.
G, last week it was Newsom side.
Yep.
Right.
Okay, let's change it. It's not Newsom.
Right.
Let's go Denzel
By
Ward
the way,
side.
guys, you know who threw
And
a
the
lot of
same
passes
problem.
in the preseason? Mitch Trubisky. How's he played so
No,
far?
they ain't know about that. You picking out one guy.
You picking out one guy. The Browns. You're picking out one guy.
We talking about.
You can
we talking
find
about-
guys that
we're-
play
we're
well and
talking
play a
about
lot in the
when
preseason
you're-
that don't play well.
And you can find the guys who didn't play and
But
played
this is
well.
this
It's
is
just-
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's a guy here, a guy there. I'm saying it's the unit.
It's the systemic problem.
On defense,
I don't buy
you
it.
know this. Defense is an orchestra. There's 11 different instruments being played at once.
They've all played together
And if-
last year.
They did.
And most of them played in the preseason.
You
but
need work.
for some reason,
Yeah.
what they did in the offseason and all of their practices leading up to their first 2 games, we haven't eliminated the communication problem. So here's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You can't simulate certain situations in practice. There's no
Can't.
crowd.
But the defense did play, Jay, is what I'm saying. A lot of the guys played.
No, they didn't. They really didn't. Our starters did not play a lot on defense.
so
on
Myles
offense
Garrett
either.
and Denzel Ward didn't play, but a lot of the other guys played.
So
A
Bullock.
little bit, not like you think, Bull.
So Bullock.
Can you go through all the teams and tell me how
No,
the snaps
I'm
of
saying
defensive
here,
players took?
I don't want you to discount it because I understand
Yeah.
what you're trying to say, but you have 3 players here. Him, and I, right? And the one thing that we're united on this set today about is the practice is important. It's a reason why we're
Nobody's
here.
not saying practice is
No, but the
important. They
problem,
practice.
the
What are you
problem is
gonna do?
when you don't play the preseason,
Yeah.
you don't get the timing together. It's as little because they didn't play bad the whole game. It only took a minute and a half.
It only takes one
If they
play.
hadn't choked the most improbable lead, we would not be having this conversation.
But they did.
But they did.
What? And they choked because they didn't play in the preseason?
Yes.
Well, you know
That's
what?
silly.
It's a
That's
trend
silly.
because they choked last week in the fourth
we
quarter.
just got away last week.
That's silly.
Last week we avoided the bullets, so a lot of times the warts are hidden by the win.
You have to drill down on what choke means. Choke is something that's a blanket statement, right? Just say you didn't get it done. But what we're having is players don't know what their responsibilities are and they can't line up correctly.
Then there's shucking.
That's the premise of football.
They're shucking the responsibility. You heard deflection this today, right?
Yeah.
That's
I hear you.
deflection.
I just don't buy it has anything to do with the preseason, but I don't know.
We'll never know. We'll never know because he didn't play them.
My question is this is going to be simplistic to me because you only got 1 day of practice, maybe, right? You got a bunch of film, right? The pressure is on Thursday.
This
right?
is it. Yeah.
And then I will tell you this.
That coaching spotlight
because
is
I'm going
hot
to tell you
on
what,
him.
today, the first day was supposed to be happening is this, Bull.
Yeah.
You out and you out. You two, you in.
I would have loved that.
By the way, now I have another reason for the Browns. I want the Browns to get off to a good start. So if the Browns are 6-1, I can say to these three knuckleheads, how much does the preseason matter now?
Listen,
You'll be happy to take that lump.
No one's hoping they go 6-1 more than us.
I want it. I want it happen.
And to that point, they will figure things out.
Yeah.
They did last year. The problem was they had two different defenses last year, Jekyll and Hyde. First 8 games, we saw a group that was just like what we've seen so far for 2 games this year. At the back end of the season, they were a well-oiled machine.
After the Patriots game.
That was when it switched. What they would lose, 45 to 7 or whatever it was. That was one of the worst performances they'd ever put. But they figured it out. So everybody thought, okay, growing pains are over. Yeah. Now all of the teeth to the gears are lining up, and the machine is moving
because
forward.
there's no changes to the
and
defense.
Then we took 6 months off. Mm-hmm. Then we came back. We got together. We played some practices. We had some joint squad practices. Did get a lot of work in the preseason, and then we rolled them out there for opening night, and they gave up 17 points in the fourth quarter and needed a bomb of a kick to win. Yeah. Okay, dodge that bullet. Now our communication problems are solved.
The Browns' defense dominated for 3 quarters in week 1. They fall apart in the fourth quarter, and that's because of the preseason? That just doesn't make any sense.
Well, they dominated. I wouldn't even say dominated. They played very well for 3 quarters yesterday, too. But the trend here, Bull, the trend is very simple to see.
The other thing,
when the game is on the line and things matter most, they've given up 17 points in 15 minutes twice. And that's a problem.
Agreed. And I think blaming the preseason for it is giving them a pass.
I'm not saying it's 100% on that.
Okay.
I'm saying I think it has something to do with the fact that we're 2 games in, and these guys still are not communicating properly.
And I will say this, it's attention to detail down the stretch.
Well, that's definitely true.
It's attention to detail.
Yeah, 100%.
And the other thing is I don't want anybody to underestimate this. They spent the whole preseason and summer and training camp defending Watson stuff.
I know they did.
Yeah, they did.
Facts.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie, bro.
That's true.
Nuggets, you got something, man. What
now,
you got,
they said it wasn't a distraction, but we know better.
What you got, man?
We spent the first 96 minutes of the show giving our thoughts on what happened yesterday. We're going to take the next 2 minutes to hear what the internet thought about the loss from yesterday. And as I say for the 7th time in like 8 days, our most commented tweet yet.
Okay, by the way, Myles Garrett, if you're watching, you may want to turn the TV.
You may want to turn your page.
And you know what else? You may be right. PCC may be crazy.
Are you looking for a job with career advancement and great benefits? PCC Airfoils is the leading manufacturer in Northeast Ohio. All locations of PCC Airfoils in Eastlake, Mentor, Wickliffe, and Minerva are hiring for all positions starting at $18 and up, plus full benefit packages, paid time off, and signing bonuses. You can apply online at precast.com/careers to learn more. Steve, let's take the tag board. This is what we asked the internet. We said we hate to do this, but using only a GIF. How you feeling right now after the game?
Is Bull's vomit a GIF yet?
It should be.
I can make it one.
We can make it one.
Please, someone make it one. That's my.
So just so you know, last week our record before week 1 was like 150 responses.
Yeah.
We got about 175. We got 290 for this one. A
There you
lot
go.
of GIFs to go through. These were some of our favorites. Let's take the first one here. Anthony.
That's good.
That's
great.
Johnny, well done, Johnny.
I think we picked 5. If you guys want to laugh more, go through it. 4, go through and just look at the thread. You could honestly laugh for a while. Let's go to number 2.
That's so good.
Look at him crumple.
That is so what I felt yesterday.
Oh, it was hurtful.
Lifted the man off the ground.
His feet was off the ground.
And then he's just a pile of stick man.
There was a lot of iterations of the same GIF.
Yeah.
People taking one right there.
Yeah, this one was my favorite because for whatever reason the stick figure felt appropriate after yesterday.
I love the action to the kicking
Let's
leg
give the
deal.
person who tweeted it a mention there.
This is the process. Thank you to the process.
Yeah, you're the man.
Hey, look at him, how proud he was. Look at his arms and shoulders. Yeah, we done did this. Pow!
We won. We lost.
All right, 2 more. Let's take the next one.
That's how Carolina felt last Sunday. Literally kicked.
Zach
We'll play on Woods here.
Oh, my God.
Them coals is that's burning hot right there.
This was Zach. He gets points for creativity here.
Very creative.
And once again, there was 290 responses. Go through, look at these. They were quite clever. Shout out to our Twitter.
Yeah, by the way, if you're not following us on Twitter, you're missing a pretty good follow, too.
Yeah, I don't know why. Why these Twitter followers down? I think we under 10.
We haven't really pushed Twitter that
at
hard.
all.
But
we haven't.
It goes different ways.
We probably didn't get to 10,000 yet.
No, we're really close. We're like 100 away.
All right, push us over the 10,000 mark.
Let's go, folks.
Come on, show us what you guys are all about. Don't make us go stick man on you.
And last but not least.
Not my boy. Not my boy.
We got a winner!
That's a winner. That's a winner.
It never fails.
My boy, the crying Jordan.
The crying
The
Jordan.
internet is undefeated.
Oh, my God.
By the way, Jay said, getting texts from people that are not from here.
Hey, Mikey, send that to me.
Oh,
I got
dude,
you.
I was getting texts from all my New York, New Jersey friends.
Sure.
After the game about, because before they were asking me about Brownie the Elf, and I defended it. I was like, you guys don't know, you're a bunch of idiots. And then after the game, they were sending me all kinds of stuff
I can
about
imagine.
Brownie the Elf.
Yeah,
oh,
pretty
man.
intimidating in that fourth quarter, wasn't he?
Oh, man.
Yeah, catch
So thank you. That was the best round.
That was
like
great.
I said, we probably could have done 50. Should we pull some more in for the end? You want to end?
Yeah.
Yes, because those were so good.
Crying Jordan on
All right,
Brownie
so
the Elf. was
Jay,
great.
before you go, I'm out of here for the next 3 minutes. Let me go through. Let me find some more.
Okay.
If you guys need anything, you're on your own for the next 3 minutes.
What are the
How will
chances
we
someone
survive, Mike?
sneaks into Progressive First Energy and paints over the elf head with the crying Jordan head Wednesday night?
They try to put them in jail. They put them under
Could
the
you imagine Thursday night football's in town and there's a crying Jordan in
They will
midfield?
put them
Good.
underneath.
That's a classic.
The crying
That's a
Jordan.
What does
classic.
he think of
By the
that?
way, I do not condone that. Do
laughing
not
at
break
it.
into First
He'll be
Energy.
laughing.
No, don't do that.
Please don't do it.
encourage that kind of
Man,
behavior.
I tell you what, though, but again, it is this fan base is resilient, right?
Yes, they've had to be.
We're taking
Yeah.
a lot of body blows here.
We've been kicked a lot.
A lot of body blows here, and we're gonna show up again on Thursday, right?
Well, the Muni lot will be packed.
And you know what?
Crazy.
They'll be cheering
and-
at the
Of
start of the
course.
game,
and
and they'll go nuts.
the only thing the fan base really wants, I want you to show me that you care as much as I care.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Don't give me
Do
no.
players
don't
think
give
about
me
that,
the,
though?
well, I only was picked on one. I want to hear that.
In the moment, though, Brad, do players think about the fans' reaction, or is it completely out of your minds?
It depends on how in touch you are with reality, right? Because if you're on a good team, your own peers hold you accountable, right?
Yeah.
They hold you accountable.
Right.
Now, if you're living in Fantasia world, I didn't have nothing to do with that. That wasn't me.
Right.
Myles Garrett, we're paying you. I like Myles Garrett a lot. You know
Me
I
too.
do.
Yeah,
I said,
we love
problem is,
him.
dude, you can't give me 1 sack and 1 tackle. That's not going to help
Can't have
me.
it.
No.
Denzel, I thought you was a lockdown corner. Your boy Garrett Wilson came in here and abused y'all like it was nobody's business.
You know,
He looked like he was the veteran.
Well, here, if you want to be gross or if you want to be disgusted by it, again, going back to Tyvus and watch Wednesday when Tyvus is in, Tyvus said Garrett Wilson spun G New like a top.
Like
Oh,
a
I
top.
know he did.
When he did it, you know what I said, Jason? Just like Ohio State versus Northwestern.
Yeah.
That's what
But
that was.
I said, don't worry, because Greg Newsome finally caught him at the end of the game because they swapped jerseys. They're on the field together.
That's embarrassing.
Swapping jerseys, signing the jerseys. So finally, Greg Newsome did get a hold of Garrett Wilson's jersey.
That wasn't no different than what was going on in the Big Ten.
I hate that, man.
So I said,
It's a new world.
But again,
I do too, but it's
again,
the
here,
new
I
world.
Baker and was it Wyatt Teller that
Wyatt
swapped?
Teller.
At least they had the
Off
smart
the field.
Last week, it was such a bad look when Russell Wilson,
yeah.
after losing that game, took off his jersey and was signing it for someone that just kicked his ass.
Bad.
I'm okay with the kneel, the prayer at the end of the game. I'm okay with that. This adulation of, hey, you just beat my face in the dirt. Can I have your jersey?
This is the AU.
Do that. Do that
Can you imagine?
on your own time.
Jay, this is the AU world. They all grown
They're all
up.
buddies
They all
now.
buddies now.
Yeah. But let me
I don't like it.
It's not like
I don't like
it's
it.
not
Let
like
me
my
t-
day when we despised you. I
Yeah.
mean, when I
Can you
despised
imagine
you, I hated
asking
you.
Bill Lambier when you were with the
do a prayer
hey,
circle?
bro, we were boys once upon a time. Can you sign your? Bill would have punched you in
Oh,
the
yeah,
face.
yeah, like,
and if Bill had asked you for a jersey, you would have punched him in the face.
It wouldn't even went down. They wouldn't even.
No.
Wouldn't even have thought to do it.
would
What is
never-
the point of exchanging dirt jerseys? It's so stupid.
I don't know.
But
Please
let me tell you
stop.
something.
Hang them in there.
Think about this, guys.
Yeah.
We went into the season saying we have not a good quarterback. We need the running game and the defense to carry this team early.
Running
right?
game is
the running game has
provided.
done their job. The defense, since the third quarter of the Carolina game, has been awful,
And
in my
remember
opinion.
when Miles said, it's on us
It's
now?
on us, right.
In the preseason, he
Think
said,
about
it's
this.
now on us.
And it's
He
on
said
him.
if they don't score, they can't win.
And listen, it's
You let
on
us
him.
down,
We're
defense.
talking about a shutout this week. We
I
had
know.
one of these over. But think about this. Did any of you guys watch the Bengals-Cowboys game after?
I did.
Okay. What did Micah Parsons do in that game with no Dak Prescott?
That's the point.
He said, I got to put this
Yep.
on me.
Von Miller has
killed
done
the
that.
He
Bengals.
was on a tear.
Von Miller has done that in the
Right.
past. We've seen Aaron Donald do that.
But what's really stood out, Jay, was because the Cowboys were with a subpar quarterback, right?
Yes.
And the kid did a good, solid job in the first
did.
half.
He did.
In the first half, he did a good
But
job.
he didn't do anything in the second half.
Parsons, nothing. Micah Parsons said, put this game on me.
Against a
I'm
Super
the
Bowl
star
caliber
pass
offense.
rusher, and he killed the Bengals. He was all over them in the backfield.
Missing that person. Right?
Myles Garrett didn't do that.
You have talented people, but we're missing that key person. And you better go find it. Because if you gonna bank on what you got here, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know if you try. You got to trot fans in here. I don't know if you got to come in. If I was a coach, I'd line some fans up, and I get the whole team together, and I line them coming through and say, hey, tell them your story. How long you been a Browns fan? How much you paying for tickets? How much you make a year? And sit them in front of them and say, listen, man, I live and die with y'all, man. And my Sundays is trash. And when y'all lose, and we not booing you, we booing the behavior. Right? We booing, like, if somebody reprimands you and they say they're not reprimanding you as a person, they're reprimanding, they're saying we don't like what we seeing as far as your behavior and we expect more. If we really didn't care about y'all, we wouldn't show up. We would empty stands.
Real
Is that
talk,
what they want?
Real talk. The vast majority of players don't care.
They don't care.
Real talk, that ain't gonna get you nowhere. The only thing that gets you somewhere in this world inside that locker room is somebody to hold somebody accountable.
Yep.
And when I say I hold you accountable, I don't want you to think I'm promoting violence around here, but somebody gonna knock you in your mouth out here, right? Get sideways with me. We don't have that. We don't have that. Because somebody is holding somebody accountable for your performance.
Instead, we're all making excuses. And it's okay.
Not my fault.
And they attack the fans.
Yeah.
Myles Garrett had the audacity to attack the fans after he had one tackle in a game with no offensive line and a statue at quarterback. He had one tackle, and he's going to attack us? How about you attack Joe Flacco?
The coach can did that right now. You know what he could do? He can stand up and say, we got guys talking about fans, and we got people talking about booing.
Let me tell you something.
We're going to stop all of that.
Let me tell you something.
We play like trash.
Let me tell you something. I played for the Timberwolves, right? Let me run there.
Dang, bro, you played for the old school Timberwolves?
When I'm in Chicago, Charles Oakley hold people accountable,
terrible.
right?
Yeah.
I'm in Detroit, Lambeer and Isaiah hold people accountable. When I was in Seattle, Xavier McDaniel holding people accountable. I got to and those were all playoff teams. I got to the Timberwolves. We went 18-64,
T-Wolves,
right?
Old school
Christian
T-Wolves.
Leitner, Chuck Person, Thoroughbred, all good people. Well, nobody hold nobody accountable. Can we go to the club after the game? That's where we're going, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm just picking up the checks here.
Yeah.
And I was like, well,
sucks.
ain't no need even going to the pregame. I'm going to go sailing before we go to the game in Sacramento. Because we're going to take an L because ain't nobody holding nobody accountable.
I don't know the answer. I'm legit asking the question. Is Deshaun that guy? My answer would be no, based on the fact that the Texans, his last year he played, were not good at all. And you heard the people around him sort of making excuses about the receivers he was throwing to. But I'm legitimately asking the question, is
I don't know.
Deshaun
I don't know that they have that guy.
I think that on the offensive side, I hope that his clock management would have been a little bit better. But I'm worried about on the defensive side of the ball. That's where the problems are.
By the way, guys, we've talked about this so much. For 60 seconds, I think we got to talk about the fact that yesterday was a crazy day in the NFL, period.
9 of the 13 games were one-score games.
Yeah.
And the majority of those 9 were decided in the last
Well, you think about it.
seconds.
We mentioned before briefly the Ravens blew a 21-point lead. Then they regained the lead.
Jesus.
And then they lost. The Raiders.
Oh, that was awful.
That game with the Chargers was bananas.
And by the way,
with the Cardinals.
when you watch
Kyler
Kyler Murray in that, I don't know why he can't be that guy for 60 minutes, but when you watch him in that situation, you're like, yeah, I can see why they
Did
paid
you see
him.
that two-point conversion?
It was unbelievable, the two-point conversion.
They can't do that with him.
And then they did it again with, and then A.J. Green drops the ball.
By the way, on the touchdown, that Cardinals player was dangerously close to throwing the ball before
I thought he did at first
I thought he
glance.
did too.
And then
I go, oh my God, he didn't score. He didn't cross the goal line.
Right. They would have lost the game.
It was so bang bang. Can you imagine losing the game on that?
Oh my God, that was close. What was he thinking on that play?
I don't know because it was so close. You needed a sideline camera to realize that part of the ball had barely crossed the plane when he threw it.
Well,
Rams blew a giant lead to the Falcons, although they held on.
They held on to win.
Cowboys blew a big lead against the Bengals, although they came back and won.
Part of this is just the nature of the
so
NFL.
It is.
I don't want to
Crazy.
I don't want to make it like this one was really, really bad.
Yeah.
2,000 plus games.
So did we?
But part of this is
So
also
was the Ravens.
The Ravens loss was horrible too.
Yeah, it was.
So did we dodge a bullet or prolong the inevitable here? So do we rebound on Thursday? Or
I'll tell you Thursday night. I'll tell you Thursday night.
Well,
because
let me ask you guys one question before we show some more gifts and wrap up here. Brissett played an A+ game to his standards. Are we going to see Brissett play that well again in the next 10 games?
I'm not even going to say to his standards. He played
a great game.
Like he wasn't no backup.
He played a great
I
game.
agree.
No.
That's not an A+ game for any
No,
quarterback.
listen.
I disagree. I think it was.
He played great.
That game, he was throwing with velocity. He was throwing with anticipation. He got out of the pocket
Take it
and
down a
made
notch.
plays.
Well,
No.
Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert throws
Look
for
at that.
400 yards and 5 touchdowns.
2020.
That's not an A+ game.
Bull, to your point,
On the Brissett scale, it's an A+ game.
he is who he is.
Right, I'm saying, but but Garrett said for anybody it's an A+ game.
Anybody
No, I don't know about for anybody, but for him,
He hit the layups. He was.
How's he
supposed
going to play any better than that?
He can't play better.
He's not.
He played great for him.
Yes.
Yes.
And we lost
And they
at the
lost
end of the
anyway
game.
against the
and
bad
that's
team.
terrifying because
Yes.
he played his best game, and we lost to a terrible team
I
at
mean, he
home.
usually averages 5 yards an attempt. He averaged 8.5 yards per attempt.
He scrambled. He got him in
Yeah,
position.
he actually ran a few times effectively.
They couldn't get him down.
Yeah.
They couldn't get him down.
He played
great.
Spectacular.
Great.
He wouldn't even had to pick if we would have won the game. He'd have had one sack. That's it. One sack on his blemish, on his record.
Yeah.
Look at that. You know, he's
played
not.
great.
Hey, I tell you what, man, it's a shame they didn't get that win. But
this is the type of team we have. We have to play almost what I call the perfect game. We can have very minimal mistakes here.
If that's true,
That's
and
it.
it might be, if that's true, we're going 6-11,
maybe.
and we're talking about 2023 by mid-October.
Well,
if
we'll
that's
feel
true.
differently if they beat the Steelers this week. We'll see how it goes.
Listen, it's all on the line,
we
man.
had a house money game because we should be sitting 2-0 where everybody took the L's. We'd have had a game to play with, right? Now we're in the thick of things now.
Does everybody agree that we have to be 6-5 at bare minimum?
Yes.
So if you follow that line of thinking, if they do lose Thursday night,
Oh my God.
No.
now Jacoby Brissett has to go 5-3 over the next 8 for us to even have a chance.
There's almost no chance.
I don't against the schedule that really gets real after week 4.
There you go, right there.
I don't see how in the world this team. So I know it's early, it's week 3, and I always make fun of guys when they say this is a must-win. No, it's a must-win if you're facing elimination, mathematical.
Right.
So I'm not going to go so far as to say this is a must-win. You can't have a bigger week 3 scenario than what the Browns have Thursday night. I don't see how you can.
It could especially because of the way they lost that last game. If you lose to the Steelers, it could snowball out of control
And
in a bad way.
by the way, Atlanta is decent. I've watched them 2 weeks in a row. Atlanta is
they're not
decent.
going to be a pushover. We thought the Jets were going to be a pushover.
Well, I don't know. I mean,
I think
they
Atlanta's
got a bad quarterback.
I think
too.
Atlanta's a better team than the
Nothing's
Jets.
a pushover in the
Yes, they're better
NFL,
than
but
Jets.
Yeah, I think they
Drake
are.
London looks good.
Let me tell you something. We haven't earned the right to
And
say
it's a road game.
We haven't earned the right to say that somebody's a pushover.
nobody's
No, we haven't.
Nobody's a pushover.
Because you know what everybody's saying when they look at the schedule and it says the Browns?
we got
Well, that's a dub.
We got
That's one.
I talked to a couple of Jets writers before the game yesterday who thought, we think this is like one of the games they can win. This is one of the games the Jets
And
can
they were
win.
right.
And they were right.
And they were right.
They were right.
They're a bunch of idiots.
I've thought
Jets
all
fans.
along 2-2 through these first 4. I never bought into 4-0. I've said that on here. I thought they'd lose to Carolina and beat New York, but I've thought 2-2 all along. This is not a 4-0 team.
Well, they have no shot of making the playoffs if they split their next 2 games.
I think we've said enough on today's show. We're missing some components here.
Some ingredients.
So let me message to my man Andrew Berry. It's not what you're looking for. It's not on the sideline over there. It's not there. It's probably sitting in some place.
Well, it's on him. It's on him that they don't have those guys.
And I'm with Jason. I'm asking myself, is it the guy that's supposed to be the quarterback that's somewhere away from the team? Is that what the hope is? Like, that's the missing ingredient?
Guys, I just found the guy we need. I found the guy we need.
Who's that?
Steve, can you zoom in extra close on my phone?
Don't get no crying Jordan.
No, this is the guy we need. Okay, zoom in on it here, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to flip it around for you when you get. Okay, this is the guy we need. Listen carefully, okay?
To get our 2 boys ready to carry them to golf tournament before practice, right? 12 cats live across the road. Our door's open. Screen's broke. We need to get a new screen door, but the screen's broke, so you can come in through the screen, but you can't get back out of it. I turn and look. There's a little kitty cat in our kitchen. So I said, "What are you doing in here, little kitty cat?" By that time, the cat turns, tries to get back out. That screen won't go that way. Cat starts going meow, all crazy. And I told our players, we need more dogs. Bo's barking in the back. I have to go shut Bo up. Mel's like, "What's going on?" I said, "There's a cat in the house." "Cat in the house?" I said, "Yeah, there's a cat in the house." So I told our players, I tried to let it out the front door. Meow, the cat's still going crazy in there. And I told our players, you need to be more like a dog. We don't need a bunch of cats in here looking in the mirror. I look good. I got my extra bands on. I got my other shoes on. Be a dog. We don't need no meows. We don't need no cats. We need more dogs.
Can he get here by Thursday night?
I don't even understand half of what he said.
Can he get here by?
That's a couple years old, but that's
Yeah, no,
pretty
it is.
funny.
It's like 10 years old.
Yeah.
Okay, is there any chance we can get him to First Energy by Thursday night?
He's
at
got to bring his
8
dogs
o'clock?
with him.
And bring your dogs, because we need more dogs in
That's a
here.
good speech. You better go through the waiver wire, the people that are getting the free agent list.
It might be too late to get more dogs in here.
I don't think you get any dogs. on
You
the
don't
waiver
usually
wire.
bring in dogs at week 3.
And Dominican Sue is still sitting at home, ain't he?
He wants the Nebraska job.
Well, nobody wants him.
No.
I just need somebody light up. Because I don't think, what I think is these young dudes, they don't know. They have no idea what it means.
And that's sort of what Kevin was alluding to.
They don't know.
We're a young team, but we got to grow up
And
fast.
they think that because I got the bag, G, that put me over the spot. No, that means you just got the money. That don't make you the player.
Unfortunately,
that's the problem.
To your point earlier, that's what they want.
Because Jay,
they don't care about our feelings.
Jay,
they don't care.
Jay, to the bag.
We care more than they do.
When I go
1,000%.
When I get the bag, let me tell you what I do. I go to the bank. I go by that big house over there. I go by my mama's house. And then I'm going to buy this car.
Yes.
I got the bag. I'm good. I made it, right?
Yep.
And see, the dog, you know what he don't care about? He don't care about none of that. He wants the money and the rest of the stuff, but he's like, only thing I care about is winning. And when you do something that is not reflective of us winning, it's going to irritate my soul. And when I irritate my soul, I'm coming for your throat.
Because that dog,
we don't have that dog.
Dog is thinking about legacy. Dog is thinking about what it means, pride. It's just, some people don't care about no money. Them is the scary people.
When Steve Young played for I think it was the LA Galaxy in the USFL, he signed a $40 million contract. It was the biggest contract in sports at the time. And he tells a story about how his dad had come to visit him, and things weren't going well in the first couple of weeks of the season. You know, they were losing games they should have won. And his dad happened to see some checks on his desk. And Steve's dad said, "Steve, you got millions of dollars sitting here on your desk. Why haven't you cashed those checks? You got to get those in the bank." "I haven't earned them."
Yep.
"I'll cash them when I earn them." That mentality, that's gone. Guys don't care. They want the money. There are guys that want to win.
Guys who care. Yeah,
there are guys that want to care, but I don't see that. I don't know where they are.
It's the culture.
Why
I always say it's like AU. That's the culture. This is what they grow up in. It's not like us, Jay. It's because you didn't get the bag before you did some stuff, right? You get the bag now before you do some stuff.
Why you think Tom Brady think he can play to a 50? Because he know y'all saw. He know.
That's true.
He like, I know I'm better than you. Hey, sorry, babe. I can't go vacation. These soft dudes is out here still collecting checks. I could get 20 rings on these dudes. And that's what he think. And he doing it.
That's a very interesting theory.
Look, G, I see T.O. on Instagram. He running 4.4.
He wants to come back.
Like, put me on. Put me down.
I could get money off on these dudes.
I'd take a T.O. type right now.
They got rid of bump and run coverage. I could just give him
It's unreal. We don't bump and run. We rush 4 every play and we don't bump.
These dudes.
Other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, was the play enjoyable?
Man.
What do you got, McNuggets?
So Grant Delpit is at the podium now. He was asked about the 66-yard.
I love the cross.
That's must-see TV.
He had a little bit of a different response than Ward. A little more professional.
Because he knew that shade they was throwing yesterday was at him.
That was at you.
That was at him, right? And
Before we knew.
Here, memo to you, Grant. All eyes in Cleveland are on you because we seen the tape. 2 weeks.
He hasn't done squat.
It's you.
High
We looking
draft,
at
He hasn't
you.
done squat.
Hey,
Here,
y'all go.
be clear, G. Ohio is football country. We seen football before.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, we have.
And we certainly know what bad
And
football looks
we
like.
know what bad football looks
And we,
like.
and we gonna hold. If the players y'all ain't gonna do it, hey, bro, it's week 2. You gonna be held accountable one way or the other.
You say, Jesse, I'm not gonna throw my teammates under the bus. No. Again, what's the quote? A hurt dog will what? Bark. Who's barking at the podium now? It's Grant.
And it's all DBs too. This is how you know they messed up. All the DBs are speaking today. Ain't no lineman talking. Chubb and Hunt nowhere to be found.
Batonio did talk too.
Well, Joel talked yesterday after the
He's
game.
the spokesperson.
Well, here's the most disturbing thing of all of it. I mean, I'm
politics.
pissed that Myles is yelling at the fans for booing and all that. To me, I think the most disturbing thing I've seen in the last 24 hours is a guy on our team that I thought was a grown-up, that I thought was accountable, chirping back to people on Twitter.
That's
Like,
disappointing.
if that's where your head is,
Even if he's right, it doesn't
3
matter.
days before
Doesn't matter.
the Steelers game, you're focusing on people on Twitter and not looking at tape and figuring out how you fix this. We're in the wrong space right now.
Can't be defensive about.
No.
Own
way you
it.
lose a game.
Own
Yeah.
it.
Speaking
You know,
of Twitter-
Leroy Hoard, when he was on this show once, was asked, what'd you think of the fans booing? And Leroy said, I would have booed me too.
That's right. That should be the answer.
Myles Garrett needed to say, they should have booed us. They worked hard all week so they can afford a ticket to come watch that.
Hopefully,
They don't deserve that.
Hopefully, it's a one-off.
I hope it is.
Denzel Ward has been a model citizen.
He has, and so has Myles Garrett.
And Myles Garrett, everybody gets frustrated,
Right,
right?
right.
Hopefully this is a one-off.
It's a learning moment.
It's a learning experience for him. And here's the thing: you got an opportunity, and there's a little glass, and I look at it as half full. You got an opportunity to go 2-1.
The other thing that
And the
works.
coaches can't coddle the players.
No.
They got to tell them when they do something wrong.
To your point.
Yeah.
To your point. There has to be fear here. A little bit of fear.
Yeah, a little bit.
The
Fear
coach
is
first
healthy.
thing he has to say this is, Bull, there's going to be some changes made today. Because that means that sends reverberations through the team like, is it going to be me? Is it going to be me? Are you singling me out? Right? You have to come into that building nervous today.
When you
And if you don't come into that building nervous today, that means like there's no accountability here.
when your lunch buddy gets sat down, he put a little fear in you. Yeah, y'all going off to y'all eating at Applebee's, talk about, yeah, we good, dog. Me and you we good. No,
No, I'm mad.
Come on over here and sit by me. You and you ain't playing no more. That'll shut everything
What I
up.
tell you when Doug Collins, when we on the playoff run, I'm rolling. I mean, we're in the starting lineup. Game 3 here in Cleveland. Going into game 4. He like, you out? Scotty, you in? And we had just won.
And then they started rolling. Pimpin never came out.
That's it.
Pimpin
Grant got
turned.
Wally Pipp.
Wally Pipp. Wally
It's the
Pipp.
greatest 50 player.
Don't get hurt. Don't get benched because you don't know what's coming up behind you.
Right. So you have to have that little bit of fear. Oh, this is not going well. There's gonna be some changes
Yeah.
here. So when they said that in the paper, I like changes. What changes?
Are you looking at me?
Life lessons from OG. Pippen came in from, that's the cold one. I can't even talk about that. That's crazy.
He never came out.
He never came out.
We want to laugh at some more
Yeah.
responses to the internet.
We need
Before say
laughter
goodbye?
right now,
We'll end
man.
on a high note here. Real quick, does anyone have a final take?
I
that
have
they
one
need
that
to
I'd
do?
like because these guys.
No, dog. No sports talk.
Don't
like
do
that.
it.
Don't do it, baby. Don't do it, baby.
We're gonna run through. We got 6 more. We thought we were good.
Oh
Then
my
we can do a final
God.
take and we'll wrap up.
These are so
Take the next
good.
Trash is burning.
And it's going downriver.
When your river can't catch on fire, light a dumpster up and put it down.
Bro,
River.
it's just oh my God. That bleach one. Yup. Don't it feel like that with the like the coyote, the laws of physics just turned on that man. Like
Yeah. We're the coyote.
We're the coyote.
And
Like,
everybody else is the roadrunner.
yeah, like, hey, you guys all right down
And
there?
we're buying all our products from Acme.
All right, 3 more.
Yeah.
There's the bull, Jeff. There it is. To do for bull.
These are the gifts that they should be sending to Myles. So
Hey,
you can see.
I
I want you to watch these. This is what people feel.
He got one come out of his forehead. Hey, you know what? The good news is Denzel will see it because he's scrolling through Twitter.
Look, you got
No, boss.
that's a bourbon smoothie.
A bourbon smoothie.
What's up, Jason?
Real quick, Stefanski's at the podium. Said Jadeveon Clowney will not play Thursday. Chase Vinovich and Jesse James also out.
Good.
I didn't know
Chase Winovich was playing last week.
So that is not good for the defensive line.
Clowney was in a boot. So I knew
he left with a boot.
He left with a boot on.
In a boot,
All right, Bull, we got time for your final take, then we got to go. So when you're ready,
I got to fix my microphone.
That was funny. I like that.
You got any bleach, McNuggets back there?
Let me give a couple minutes of love here to the best franchise in Cleveland, and that's the Guardians.
Thank you.
While the Browns were floundering as usual in a big spot, the Guardians, who did lose yesterday, overall had a great weekend. They took 3 out of 4 from the Twins, with the final game of the series just starting right now. They got great pitching this weekend. They were resilient. They came back down Friday. They blew a huge lead on Saturday in the nightcap of the doubleheader. It took 15 innings, which never happens anymore because of the new rules, and they found a way to win that game because that would have been a bad loss to lose that Saturday night. Shane Bieber was vintage this weekend. McKenzie, and now you got Quantrill going today, was huge. They are in great shape. Right now, 85% chance to make the postseason. You got the Twins today.
That scares me.
They go to the White Sox for 3, which is a big series. And you'll have McKenzie and Bieber pitching in that White Sox series. I'm not sure who's pitching tomorrow. I think they have an undetermined starter. White Sox got their 3 best starters. They're the threat. Twins are done, I think. But the Guardians deserve credit and kudos. And folks, I never like to tell people to go out to the game, but I'm going to tell you this one time. If you can, try to go out to one of their last games, whether it's today or the final 9 when they have Tampa Bay and Kansas City. Let's give them our support. They deserve it. They're playing great. They have if they go, I think they have 17 games left, I believe. 14. No, 16 games left. If they go 11
magic
and
number
5,
is 12.
The magic number, I didn't look at it this morning.
Yeah, I think it's 12.
Yes, they did.
13.
13.
If they go 11 and 5, they don't have to go 11 and 5 to make the playoffs. They probably just got to play 500, maybe even below. But if they go 11 and 5 the rest of the season, which they could do, with 6 games against the Royals, 3 against Texas, 11 and 5, they'll win 90 games.
I think I had him at
90. Who the
90.
hell would have guessed that?
I think I had him at 91, 92.
You did?
G. Bush picked 92 wins.
How did he
in a
pick
pre-show.
92 when he said they had no chance to be in the playoffs at the end of the night?
I know.
Thought it
Doesn't
wouldn't
make any
make
sense. But it's remarkable how well this team has played. They deserve a ton of kudos for what they've done.
The second game of the doubleheader Saturday night was one of the most unbelievable baseball games you'll ever. They were up 5-0.
Right.
They blow the lead.
gives up the home run to Nick Gordon.
They load the bases multiple times in extra innings and finally win in the 15th inning.
Well, and then remember, the Twins had taken the lead in the 13th.
I know they did. And then they came back and scored in the bottom of the 13th.
Right.
And then they get the run in the 15th inning to close it out. Unbelievable stretch. I wish all our teams played like that. Because effort.
That team's got heart. That team's got
They've
heart.
got so much heart, they could lend some to the Browns.
I mean, think about it. The Browns are, it's different sports, I get it. But the Browns are a way more talented team than the Guardians are.
Not even close.
The Guardians got heart, and the Browns, it's questionable.
And they've got Tito.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
And we've got Stefanski and a bunch of guys pointing fingers and looking at Twitter.
It's weak. Look at the Guardians' leader, Jose Ramirez.
Absolutely.
Plays harder than everybody in baseball.
And he's their best player.
Best player, great leader. And even though English is not his first language, he's still vocal with the guys. You don't talk to the media a lot, but with the guys, he's vocal.
Yeah. What do we got tomorrow, McNuggets?
We got Aditi, we got Leroy, and we have Jen Matthews with a new segment we're going to try it with.
Well, that sounds like a hell of a show.
Let's do it.
All right.
Big game, buy some
Gotta
t-shirts,
shake it off, get a win this week.
One quick line before we go. I know it's terrible doom and gloom, and we're all negative, and oh my God, the world is ending. We're exactly today where we were yesterday at this time.
Yep.
It's just no blood, no foul.
No.
Everybody lost, and for that we can be thankful because this morning, had all of the other teams in the division win,
of course,
then we'd have reason to look for the bleach.
And it's a division game Thursday. If you win that,
and we're home.
Yeah.
And we get a quick bounce back, so it's not as gloomy as it might feel.
Today was only for, this is a Cleveland sports show. It's for Cleveland sports show.
It was venting.
We're just venting for the
We had to get it off our chest.
That's all it was.
Thanks for
and
listening.
The Steelers are not a very good team. We got to take care of them. Let's
We
go.
better.
We'll see y'all tomorrow.
Hopefully we can do that to the Steelers on
Thanks
Thursday.
for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, watch the post-game show, follow us on Twitter. 22-hour break. See you.